As the leader of the Booner pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the fuck up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time Sports. Let me get the music.
Whoa!
Man,
start off with the
music.
air horn.
The air horn's fine. Welcome, everyone, to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thursday, September 26th. We got a lot to get to.
Man.
Hey, we got some news coming out today regarding Frank Ragnow, some confirmation how he will not play on Monday. We'll discuss that. Of course, we have a special guest today joining us, all the way out there in Seattle, to help us break down the Monday night game. We're also going to have Raj join the show in the second hour to talk about the Detroit Tigers. So we got a packed show tonight, Boone.
Let's go.
Lots to get to. I'm fired up for it.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Hey, why don't we let's have a Thursday night? Why not? Right? Let's
Why
have
not
a day.
us? You know?
By the way, I need a haircut. I just realized how long the top of my hair. Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah, people should have said something earlier. Disappointed in myself for letting the hair grow out this long. Why not have a good night, Thursday night? Talk some Lions football. Love to have a guest on. Raj joining. The Tigers are back. The Tigers, unbelievable. Like, they were down 2-0, come back, win in essentially the bottom of the eighth, and get the game-winning run. It's unbelievable what's happening right now. Just have a day, Jeff.
Yeah, the Tigers.
Love the shirt too. Show the shirt. Hey, show the shirt off over there. Let's see the shirt.
I got the Almond Ra. The Almond Ra.
Love it.
You know what? Like this shirt a lot. I love it. It's one of my favorite shirts I got currently. The Tigers, though, man, it's exciting. I mean, Jason Benetti, he has had the unfortunate, even though it's a good career, but unfortunately he's been covering a team that just absolutely stinks. And now he gets to cover a team that has been electric. I think they had the biggest crowd there in quite some time yesterday.
Since
it's
like 2015.
Yeah, it's been years. I mean, you see some of the videos, which I do want to play, actually. I saw this on social media, and shout out big time to Nick for this because he put it out. He was at the game. But look at the crowd, and this is awesome. Let me get this on screen for you guys so you can see it. Look at this. I mean, this is just look at this.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, look at this play. It's electric.
How awesome is like, honestly, I've been going to Tigers games my whole life. And like the last few years, I've gone to so many because like obviously the Miggy thing and all of that. I've been to so many games the last couple of years, especially since working downtown. And it's never been like, it hasn't been like that in so long since we were like young kids, like since we were younger. So like the fact that it's finally back like that, shout out to AJ Hinch and Scott Harris and those guys for getting this team like together to kind of go on a run like this. I can't wait to talk to Raj tonight about it as well. It's like
Raj,
this playoff baseball. It's unbelievable.
Raj is our guy for it. We always invite him on, talk some Tigers. He knows his stuff. He's covering this team, so he has the he gets to go out there, you know, check out the environment and be out there. I mean, I know a lot of people that went out there yesterday. There are people there today. There's going to be people there this weekend. I know the tickets are even more expensive.
Yeah.
Like I read somewhere, I think it was Jalen. Shout out to Jalen. He put out on Twitter that he tried to buy a ticket last week, or he bought a ticket last week for $25. That same ticket is about $200. So
really,
yeah, the tickets are, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. But if you go to the game, if you're going to the game this weekend, then good luck, man. It's gonna be.
I'm gonna be. Hey, I know that we were all trying. I'm gonna go one way or another. I'm gonna figure out a way. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be in attendance. So if people are gonna go, let me know. And I think maybe we might be hopping at the Red Wings game too. So it's like a little doubleheader action. 1:00, the Tigers on Saturday. 7:00, the Wings. How often do we get that? Like it's beautiful. Like honestly, that is a beautiful. Usually it's Pistons. No, honestly, you really don't get days like that much because of the way everything lines up.
Yeah, the Tigers are they're going to be in the playoffs. Lions are expected to be in the playoffs. Like, hey, two of 4 teams. Red Wings get in the playoffs this year. It's 3 of 4 teams. Pistons are definitely not. Hey, Detroit sports is on the uptick. It's on the rise. I like that. It's a good time to be a Detroit sports fan.
And why don't you have a little bit of faith in your Pistons over there, huh, Jeff?
It's tough.
I got killed on Twitter the other day because I put a tweet out saying the Detroit Tigers are back, the Red Wings are back, and the Lions are back, and the Pistons still have Tom Gores. And I thought maybe some people would be like, "Yeah, Boone." Like, yeah, there's like people in the comments be like, "Seriously, Booner? Are you being serious right now?" Like, they haven't won a playoff game in 16 years. I think they deserve a little bit of. I don't care how good the rebuild they think is going.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have never thought that there'd be a day where people are defending Tom Gores now. I don't know. But hey, people are excited about Trajan Langdon, so we'll see. But I do want to bring up some of the stuff that happened today. Dan Campbell spoke to the media. We got some updates. And the update is that Alim McNeil, one of them, is back at practice. He is back at practice. He's working out there. Sam Laporta, Ife Melifonwu did not practice. I know we talked about Ife yesterday. He didn't practice. Sam Laporta didn't. Brian Branch was out there. I'm sure they had light practices, but they were out there at least. That's great news for the defense. Great news. I know Alim was kind of day-to-day as well. I know you have the injury report. You can throw that up so we can look at it. I'm
just trying to zoom in here for the people.
And it'll explain in detail what happened today. But this man is just trying his best, ain't he?
Did you already pull it up for me?
No, I'm waiting on you. Are you ready?
I thought you pulled it up and like we're showing the people how much I was struggling trying to zoom this thing in.
Here we go.
Packed injury report too. So very packed.
Yeah, Frank Ragnow did not practice. Dan Skipper did not practice, along with Ife and Sam, like I mentioned. Brian Branch, Alim McNeil, Levi, Ennis Rakestraw, all limited practice, which is fine. I think they will play. Anzalone full practice.
Are we gonna let's have the conversation real quick? Brian Branch, like it's the same situation with Anzo last week, right? Obviously, there's an extra day from Sunday to Monday, but Anzo was limited practice all week, and we're like, okay, he's gonna play, and then he ends up being out on Saturday when the report comes out. Like, are you like there is a little bit of concern, right, with Branch because Anzo did play, Anzo did practice last week. He was limited, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird. I mean, even I see someone in the comment, they mentioned that why isn't Ife on IR? I think they're trying to avoid putting him on IR because if you put him on IR, he's out 4 games at the minimum. So
why didn't they do that week 1 though?
Because they're, you don't really know. They're probably thinking in their mind, like we can get him back in a couple weeks, probably like 2 weeks. And now it's like, well, it's a 3rd week. Now it could be a 4th week. And you're like, he's close, but you have to eventually, like if he's out, like you have to put him on IR at some point. Like
I guess so. It's just the Iffy thing's so confusing to me. I don't know what's going on with Iffy at the end of the day. I don't know. It's a little disappointing because he had such a good year at the end of the year, and we knew guys, you knew the Lions were going to have injuries, and that was supposed to be your depth. Like that's why Tracy Walker, they moved on from him. That's why they were able to walk away from CJ Garner-Johnson. Like all of these moves that they made those because hey, we have Ife Melifonwu, and like obviously the injury he can't. But the ankle, like, what are we? It's brutal. I hate it.
Yeah, and again, for the Frank stuff, which we'll get into more after we have our guest. Actually, our guest is going to join a little earlier. He's going to join at 8:15 just because of a time crunch. So
let's go.
He'll be here in a couple of minutes. But we'll talk about the Frank stuff after and break that down. We'll have Raj on in the second hour. Like I said, we'll talk more Tigers. And when Mike gets here, we'll talk more Red Wings in the second hour too, kind of get his thoughts on what's been going on. But the Frank stuff is kind of it's good news that Dan's handling it the way he's handling it. I mean, he's making the right decision, but we'll speak more on that. I think this is a positive practice report. Everyone who practiced, it's great. I mean, Alim McNeil's back. It looked really bad when he went out. It looked really bad. He's back at practice. Ennis Rakestraw is it's interesting because I don't know really what his role would be. I think he's more just for good depth right now. So it's not like him practicing or not practicing. I mean, unless there's an injury, I guess matters too much. Yeah. But the Levi thing, I didn't know he had a knee injury, to be honest with you. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't see
Levi in the second half. So Levi and Alim both in the second half. Levi had the knee, and then Alim went down with the shoulder. That was where there was the concern because then Davenport went out. I remember after the game, there was all the questions, and people were like, 3 of your top basically 5 pass rushers all went down with an injury in this game. Like, that's concerning. And people have the right to be concerned on that. Like, that's not, as much as I tell people to calm down, and people don't like that. That's not what I'm never going to tell someone to calm down when 3 of your top 5 defensive linemen go down. Like, that's some trouble there. So luckily, like, the Liam and Levi ones aren't like long term, day to day. I bet you they both play Monday. With an extra day, I bet you they both play Monday.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I forgot about Levi leaving with the knee injury. I did remember that when he got on the he didn't get on the cart, but he was like walking on the sideline, and we talked about that in the watch party.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is positive here. I mean, I guess we could just get into the Allen Robinson stuff for a little bit here. Allen Robinson was called up, by the way.
Hey,
they called his number up. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe Isaiah Williams, I guess. He's out with an injury.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think they just are like, we need some more pieces. Like, let's just add some more pieces. Because Tim Patrick got called up. I think it was Monday or Tuesday gets called up, and he gets signed to the active roster. And now Allen Robinson. And I think it's like they just, again, DPJ. The whole DPJ situation now, like DPJ is completely out of it. Like, he's on the practice squad. What's going to happen with DPJ? That's just like that whole storyline, and that thing's all done. You're rolling with Tim Patrick, Allen Robinson. If you sign him to the active roster, Jeff, I think you're rolling with them for the year. Like, that's your wide receiver core going forward.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, for me, I think Allen Robinson is I think he's a fine depth piece. I don't know what the reason is for calling him up. I really don't. I feel like they have enough guys there. I don't know, but it's fine, I guess. Tim Patrick, I am excited for. I think Tim Patrick, even though we talk about his role and I'm not as like high on his production as you guys, I do think he's like the perfect role player. Like, he is the perfect guy that you need. And I think this week against the Seahawks, I don't think it'll be a shootout, but they have a great secondary. That's where you start relying on those wide receiver 3s and 4s, just because that's where you're going to have the matchup advantage. I mean, you have a matchup advantage whoever's guarding Amon-Ra, but Devon Witherspoon and Reek Woolen are 2 very good corners. Like, whoever's going to be guarding Tim Patrick, I don't know their third corner, but I think he'll be able to exploit that. And that's where Tim Patrick benefits.
One interesting thing, too, with the Tim Patrick, the wide receiver 3 situation. Last week, Tim Patrick, I believe, had 34 snaps. Khalif Raymond, 13 snaps. And that's 13 snaps total. He only had 5 snaps offensively, Khalif did. So, like, you now you know who, like, I'm looking at it up here, like, now who wide receiver 3 is that's now Tim Patrick, and they're like, all right, we need that X position, we need someone out there. So there is something to it. Like, now we know.
Yeah, another week DPJ didn't get called up. Absolutely brutal.
DPJ's not getting called up. That again, that experiment's over with. I don't mean to be that guy. I've been saying it probably since May, when he showed up to training camp or mini camp, and he was out of shape and didn't pass conditioning test.
Yeah.
That was like, and then you bring in Tim Patrick and Allen Robinson like that. I think that showed Dan Campbell. You know how Dan Campbell is when it comes to things like that. Like, it was what the Bugs thing last season. It's like, as soon as, like, hey, you slip up a little bit, and if you're not locked into his kind of his world there, you're probably gone.
Let's bring in Lukas, and then we're going to bring in our guest here in a second. So let's bring in Klotzy. Klotzy, what's going on with you? How you doing?
Timmy P season.
It is Timmy P season. And I got to, by the way, I'm excited for our next guest because he'll be able to provide us a different perspective here about the Seahawks. We talked about him all week, but please welcome to the show, the man of the hour. And by the way, Brian, if I butcher this, please excuse me. I'm gonna try to attempt your last name. I'm sure I have a complicated last name. Brian Nemhauser. Did I get that right? Brian, did I get it right?
You nailed it.
Let's go.
That's impressive, man. As a Seahawks fan, I'm hoping that's your only victory in the next few days, but it certainly is a victory. Not an easy name to pronounce.
You know what? I appreciate that, Brian. I appreciate you joining. And I followed you on Twitter just to get, I'm trying to just see what the enemy's up to. It's very smart strategy, just seeing what the enemy's up to. And I want to start off the question here, at least from the history of the matchup itself. Lions have struggled against the Seahawks. We know this. We're very familiar with that. We know typically it's been shootouts. It's been Geno playing his best. But this time, especially with the improved Lions defense, And with some of the injuries you guys have, and same with the Lions, how do you kind of see this game playing out? What type of game is it? Will it be another shootout? Do you see this being more low scoring with the improved defenses?
I think that one of the things I'm just looking forward to with this game is this should be the best the NFL has to offer. I mean, I think these are two really good football teams that have a lot of strengths, and they're going to be able to test each other. And the things that the Lions bring to the table, that's very clear. It comes from their coach. It comes from their personnel. It just comes from the city. It comes from everything. They want to be a tough, gritty team. They're going to run it down your throats. They run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, extra man eligible even. They'll go super heavy, a lot of condensed formations, and they'll just run right at you with Dave Montgomery. And I think that that's a really good challenge for the Seahawks. Even without Frank Ragnow, I think that's still a good challenge. I do have some questions about, you guys might know this better than me, Graham Glasgow, who has played some center, got hurt in this last game. I don't know if it's the same arm that he'd be snapping with. So I have some questions about that in general on the line. But the Lions are still going to be able to try to attack you on the ground. Where I think the Seahawks have some real advantage on the offensive side is, you mentioned Geno Smith. The Lions, Aaron Glenn loves to play man defense, second most in the NFL. They love to play press with their corners. And Geno Smith just excels against man coverage. And so they faced the Patriots in week 2. It's another heavy man coverage team. And Geno Smith was 33 of 44, and 6 of the passes he didn't complete were drops. So he really, really likes to go against man cover teams. And I think that DK Metcalf is playing the best ball he has ever played. And so I think that there's a lot for the Lions defense to handle. So I think that's where it's going to be. It's the Lions controlling the game on the ground, Seahawks trying to put up points in the air, and which defense is better able to, defeat the opponent and what their strength is.
Yeah, and Brian, one thing, at least for me, that's been concerning all week, and we've had these shootouts the last 2 years with you guys there in Seattle, or in Detroit, but versus Seattle, and I'm starting to wrap my head around that. It feels like it's going to be a little bit more of a defensive matchup. It feels like, because Mike McDonald went in there and like that defense is second in the NFL right now. And last year it was way lower than that. I think I looked at it yesterday. It was like 27th in yards given up, and then it goes all the way up to second. And so it seems like that identity is locked in this year. And then obviously the Lions defense has been a little bit more locked in with Aaron Glenn and the pieces. Do you kind of see it going that way a little bit, just a defensive head-to-head matchup, especially like? And I'll let you guys, like, our offense has been struggling here in Detroit. That's been like the biggest criticism is Ben Johnson is the mega mind of a guy, and he just the offense has been very slow. Do you see that kind of happening though on Sunday or Monday night?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I didn't look at how many red zone trips the Lions have made. I know that the Lions have struggled though in the red zone. I think they've got like 13 times or something like that. I think it's a pretty decent number, and so I don't know. I mean, you guys obviously follow them more closely, but there's been some really pretty football by the Lions offense, especially on the ground. I think they're one of the most effective running teams in the NFL right now. The combination they've got in the backfield is fantastic. And, the hook and ladder was as beautiful of a executed play as you're going to see. David Montgomery getting carried down the field, that seems like a pretty effective way to get the ball going. But I don't know. I think it's hard for me to imagine this being a low-scoring game, depending on what you mean. If it's under 20 points, you're like, yeah, maybe. I think generally one of the storylines I think most people hear about this game is the Seahawks defense hasn't faced anybody. And that's true. They have the dead last in terms of strength of schedule, in terms of the offenses that they've faced, all backup kind of level quarterbacks. But the Lions offense has also faced the 26th toughest schedule in terms of the defenses they've faced. And the difference between the Seahawks defense and the Lions offense is the Seahawks defense has dominated those bad opponents, and the Lions statistically have not, to your point. So I feel like the Seahawks defense really has a lot of matchups that I think will work well for them in this game. I think the fact that they are going to be likely missing Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams is huge. And I think that's a big change for them. still the edge rushers are quite good. The corners, I think, the end of the season, I think people are going to recognize the Seahawks have the best secondary in football again. So, yeah, I don't know. I can see some aspects of that, but I expect the Lions are probably going to be able to move the ball on the ground. It's been a weakness of the Seahawks, especially up the middle, especially missing 2 defensive tackles. And I really do think the Seahawks are going to be able to move the ball in the air. I think Geno Smith and those receivers are going to have a lot of good luck in that regard.
Yeah, Brian, I appreciate you joining the show. And something that I think we can break bread on is that Seahawks have absolutely shredded the Lions defensively over the last couple of years. Now that the Lions defense has improved and we talked about that, what do you think it's going to look like with Aiden Hutchinson? We saw a performance out of him where he had 4.5 sacks 2 weeks ago. What do you think there's going to be the presence, and at least from your opinion, what do you expect out of Aiden Hutchinson as a Seahawks fan for this Monday night?
And calling up Jason Peters, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, this is the second straight year the Seahawks have had to go to Detroit with backup right tackle. Last year it was a backup left and right tackle. And I think you guys, I'm sure, remember it. Somehow, some way, Aiden Hutchinson had no sacks, no pressure. Like, I think he had no sacks and only 2 tackles. And I was like,
we were pissed.
How did that happen? Like, I still to this day do not understand how that happened. The guy that he was going up against isn't even on the roster this year. Like, anyway. So Stone Forsythe has done better. The right guard position is a question mark. And why that matters is they have used twists and stunts with Aiden Hutchinson effectively. I saw it in the Tampa game, other games. And it's a possibility the Seahawks would start a rookie right guard in Christian Haynes in this game, depending on what happens with Anthony Bradford, who's been struggling even when he has started. So I think Aiden Hutchinson likely is going to be a factor no matter what. But one of the things that as I dug into the Lions team, and I was kind of shocked to find this, is, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson has 6.5 sacks. He leads the NFL in pressures, but there's only 2 other Lions that have at least a half a sack.
Yeah.
And that's not good. And
No.
I know that Aaron Glenn likes the blitz a lot, but Geno Smith does really well against the blitz. So I have a little question. If you really have one guy who is your pass rusher, usually an offense can find a way to work around that.
Yeah, and Brian, I guess from another player, and I get that locally, fans and the fan bases tend to overhype their own players. I mean, this is a pretty common thing here. And Jared Goff, everyone respects Jared because we know what he is. He's a very good quarterback. He's accurate. He's not mobile in a mobile league, but he still overcomes it with so many other qualities. The thing that we talked about yesterday, I actually brought up your tweet, which I thought was very interesting. It was comparing his stats against Seattle and then comparing his stats against the Ravens, but Mike Macdonald, obviously being the defensive coordinator. From someone that has no bias at all, what's your take on Jared and just kind of what he's done in Detroit, and how do you see or how do you vision Mike Macdonald trying to take advantage of that matchup here with their center out?
Yeah, I wouldn't claim no bias. I obviously got to see Jared Goff a number of years when he was with the Rams out here in the NFC West, and saw him at his worst, saw him also kind of not necessarily at his best, but saw him redeemed a little bit. I think Jared Goff is a very competent NFL quarterback. I think that he is in a system that has allowed him to really thrive. And it's interesting. A lot of people kind of compare Geno Smith and Jared Goff in terms of, drop back, pocket quarterback, good arm, able to, pretty accurate. I think where I have questions with Jared Goff, and some of this may be older things, but it came back watching him against the Cardinals and that interception he threw to Dennis Gardeck. If you're talking about matching wits between Jared Goff and Mike Macdonald, I'm taking Mike Macdonald every single time. And Jared Goff is going to see disguises in pressure and disguises in coverage that have made Mike Macdonald, what he is, the hottest defensive coach in football. And it only is going to take 1 or 2 mistakes, and Goff has remarkably already thrown 4 picks after being really good protecting the ball last year. So that's where I have a little bit of question about Jared Goff is he going to be able to read pre-snap and post-snap properly and make good decisions throughout the game?
We saw what Mike McDonald did to him with the Ravens last year. I mean, that was the worst game I think Jared Goff ever played in Detroit. But Brian, question for you, kind of when it comes to some injuries going on in Seattle there, the Kenneth Walker situation. Obviously, the other running backs have stepped up like drastically and looked really good. But it does sound like that there's a pretty good chance Kenneth Walker comes back this week. What are your thoughts on the kind of the run game there? Is he going to be back? And if he does, do you think they're going to be able to effectively run? I know the Lions do have that's kind of the defensive identity, I think, has been stopping the run the last 2 years. And the only thing that we've been able to hold our hat on is stopping the run. What are your thoughts on that kind of matchup there? And if K9 is ready to go?
Yeah. And before I answer that, I'll just say, the Seahawks got undressed just as badly or worse going to Baltimore. So
yeah, it's tough.
That was a very impressive defense that they ran out there last year, and a lot of teams fell prey to it. So, but to your question, Kenneth Walker did practice again today. It's trending towards that he will be back this week, and the interesting thing there is that, one, Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, is infatuated with Kenneth Walker. And he has, from the time he got here, really, talked about how much he wants to make him a focal point of the offense, and not just as a runner, but as a receiver out of the backfield. And so they've worked with him on blitz pickup so that he can be in there on third downs. And he only caught, 20 passes last year, maybe something around there. I think this is a guy that, if he's healthy, could catch 40, 50 passes this year with the way Ryan Grubb wants to utilize him. So I think he makes a big difference. He's much more explosive than Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet is a little bit more of the hammer. But to your point, I don't think of all weeks, I'm not sure that this is as advantageous of a game to get him back, because I think the Lions, with DJ Reader, like the way that they're playing right now, I think they are excellent against the run. And I don't know that with the way the offensive line's been going for the Seahawks, I'm not sure I see a big enough advantage there. But obviously you'd rather have your best playmaker in the backfield available than not. I just don't know that it's going to make as much of a difference as it might have against some of the other teams that are a little bit more porous and giving up rushing yards.
And Brian, another question that I have, a player that for the Seahawks I've actually really liked watching over the last 2 seasons is Julian Love. Now, he's no Brian Branch, but he's definitely a good safety when it comes to being in the run and in the pass. What do you think his impact could be going into this game? Because he's kind of like, when the Lions played the Buccaneers, Xavier McCollum, Antoine Winfield's backup, was causing problems for this offense. What do you think Julian Love's imprint could look like this week?
Yeah, well, you kind of got to go back to Mike McDonald a little bit. I was just talking about this on my show this morning, but Julian Love, people have different perspectives on PFF grades, but number 1 graded safety in the NFL. Rayshon Jenkins, number 8th rated safety in the NFL going into this game. Kyle Hamilton, who was the it man at safety last year, defensive player of the year kind of buzz at times, all pro. He's like the 35th graded safety right now. The whole Baltimore defense has taken a step backwards without Mike McDonald. And so Julian Love, Rayshon Jenkins are playing really high level football. I don't think there's a safety room in the NFL that's playing better than those two. And one of the things that's really stood out is that these guys are both capable of filling in against the run, coming up, making a bunch of tackles at the line of scrimmage. Rayshon Jenkins is one of the league leaders in solo tackles as a safety. And those aren't coming because of busts up front. He's just making a lot of plays near the line of scrimmage. And so, yeah, I think Love has been really excellent in coverage, really smart. They're going to be, I think both those guys take pride. I was talking with Rayshon Jenkins yesterday. They really take pride in being assignment correct and not making errors. And I think people underestimate how much of NFL defense is just being in the place you're supposed to be and not making a mental error. And these guys, they're veterans, they're smart, they pay attention to detail, and they've got just fantastic coaching. So, I think that plus I just call out Devin Witherspoon. I tweeted this out today. Seahawks have given up the least amount of yardage to slot receivers in the NFL. And obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown's a huge part of that offense and was very effective last year for the Lions against the Seahawks. That was Devin Witherspoon's first game in the NFL. He's a much different player than he was then.
He went off that game. Because in Detroit, as Lions fans, we were all praying that Witherspoon would fall the Lions. And then he went the pick before. And we were like, and obviously we were still looking to fill in that cornerback spot. We draft Terran Arnold this year. But we watched Witherspoon. We're like, oh.
He's a dog. Yeah. He's a dog.
Well, you guys got to be pretty happy about, your draft picks as well. It's gone pretty well for the Lions.
Definitely.
That's very fair. Hey, Brian, before we get you out of here, I got to ask you here, and I'm putting you on the spot.
Sure.
You're in enemy territory, score prediction. How do you see the game kind of fold? How do you see it happening on Monday night?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great game. I really I'm really looking forward to seeing these two teams match up, seeing these coaches match up. As I've written, I'd just say Ben Johnson was interviewed by John Schneider and the Seahawks before they even got to Mike McDonald. And who knows, if that conversation had gone differently, we could be having a very different conversation right now. So a lot of kind of subplots there. Ultimately, I think that the Seahawks are going to surprise people here. I think the defense is a lot better. And I think it's going to be a little bit underestimated given that they haven't really faced great teams. I think that secondary has not given up more than 45 yards to any receiver in the NFL this season. Every other team in the NFL has not only given up more than that to a receiver, they've done it at least twice. So I think the secondary is the best in the business. I think the edge rush group is excellent. And I think that Geno Smith and the passing game have a good matchup here. So ultimately, I think that the Seahawks are going to win. I've got it as a 27-23 game. I will say Geno Smith has played 4 games in dome stadiums over the last 2 years. He's never had his offense score less than 32 points. I talked to him about it today. He loves playing indoors. He loves the lack of weather. And so just keep that in mind. This is a guy that really has excelled inside when he's been there.
Well, we appreciate
30 this week, Brian.
Yeah. And you know what? You're absolutely right, Brian. Great stuff. We appreciate you guys. Go check out him on X. Check out Brian on X at Hawk Blogger. Brian, we'll talk to you soon. Good luck Monday. Maybe not, actually. Hopefully we can talk about a win. It's better for our audience. But you do great stuff, man. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, Brian.
Guys. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Yep. No problem. There you have it. Mr. Brian Hauser joining the program.
Killed it.
Elite setup, too. Elite setup.
Yeah. Very vibrant, Very bright. He came. Hey, he came right in. He's spitting some facts, at least about the Seahawks, whether you disagree with his takes on the Lions or whatever. But guy knows his stuff, man. He mentioned the Geno and indoors. I feel like that's most quarterbacks. I mean, no quarterback likes playing outside, but some guys do. Like Josh Allen, your guy Boone, Patrick Mahomes, like guys that are just kind of used to playing in that weather. But Geno and Jared in a dome, usually it is kind of a shootout. He's not.
It is. I think that. Listen, I'm going to stand on it. The defense. It's going to be a defensive. We've never. Every game we see with the Seahawks Lions, it's just pass, touchdown.
Yeah.
The defense. I'm with Brian too. Like the Seahawks defense is no joke. They've gotten they're probably better than they were last year. And you had Mike McDonald on there. Like he is one of the best in the entire NFL when it comes to defensive schemes. And then now you have AG with the defense with the weapons he has now. Like it's like a legit defensive matchup, and we've never seen that in this matchup before.
Well, I saw this graphic, and we talk about Aiden Hutchinson. We always bring up the pressure point, and this graphic here gives a lot of love to Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, I saw this. It's pressures in the NFL. So you have Aiden Hutchinson, who's obviously first. He has 25 pressures, but you go down. Derek Hall, Leonard Williams,
Boye Mafe at 4.
Derek
And,
Ball was a
Boye
steal.
Mafe at 4. They have 3 guys in the top
Yeah.
15 for pressures.
They get after it. That's why
Yeah.
there is a little bit of a question though with the Frank stuff. That's going to be a question.
Yeah, because Leonard Williams he's questionable. I don't know if he'll play. I doubt he'll play, but Boye Mafe will play, and he's 4th in pressure. So in terms of not having Frank Ragnow, which Dan Campbell confirmed today that they will be without Frank Ragnow, that's going to be and no Byron Murphy either, which he's out expected. So they're missing 2 guys, and Brian brought that up. That is a matchup that I do still give. I think the Lions as a unit, even without Frank, still have enough to run the ball. They still have enough to protect Jared to some degree. But, like, you can't deny, dude, that Seahawks defensive line, although they don't have huge names, like, they got some talent. I mean, they do. Boye Mafe's very good. Very underrated.
They have some dudes. I'm just interested. Like you're going to be shuffling around this whole line. Like Graham and Brian brought up the point. Like Graham did get hurt last week. I don't know what hand or what arm it was that Graham got hurt, and he had that. I don't know. I remember he came off a little bit, and they were kind of looking at him, and he got beat up a little bit. I wonder if that was his hand that he hikes the ball with, because now he is moving to center. You have Yodi now. Like this is. I don't know if it's going to actually be Yodi. Skipper's on the practice report. I'm with you, Jeff. Like the Lions offensively, like that offensive line should win that battle. This is a challenge. Like this is going to be an absolute challenge. Remember week 1, I was like, this Rams defensive line is going to be a challenge. Even with guys out, like that Seattle defensive line is still going to give you some problems. And you're still like, that's one of the better ones in the league, as you see from that graphic there. Like these are not guys that it's going to be a walk in the park. You're going to be able to run the ball easily, and you're going to be able to protect Jared Goff, because the last couple of weeks, Jared Goff's thrown interceptions. Well, you guys have let me know that, and the reason he's been throwing some interceptions is because he's been getting some pressure. And like Easy sent me a couple of those clips of Jared Goff throwing the ball away or throwing a bad pass, and the one thing, the common denominator is he's getting pressured, and he's having to get out of the pocket, and he's having to move. So it's like that's going to be maybe one of the bigger things in this game on Monday night. It's like, hey, is Jared Goff going to be able to stay in the pocket, be nice and calm in there, and have a little bit of time? I'm interested. It's going to be harder and harder because this is a tougher defensive line.
Yeah, I definitely think that, and that's why I said, like, throughout this whole week that this is going to be a defensive game where if the Detroit Lions win, it's going to be because of their defense, because I do not think that Jared Goff is going to be comfortable in the pocket all night, at least passing. I do not think that's the case. I think the Lions will still have success on the ground running the ball because they have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and they just make plays. But when you talk about in the pocket, like, you don't think that Mike McDonald's sitting over there like, oh, Jared Goff, him and Kirk Cousins, like if you make those guys uncomfortable, they're traffic cones. Like they cannot move. I understand that he ran for a first down last week, but as Detroit Lions fans, we all know that Jared Goff is one of the more immobile quarterbacks in the game, and that's his whole knock around why he can't be a quarterback to win you a Super Bowl, because he can't move. He's going to send the house, and I'm willing to bet that Goff probably goes down 3 or 4 times with the sack, but that's why it's so important that they just stick to running the ball, and they only let 1 or 2 of those wide receivers go off, not DK Metcalf, because Kenneth Walker is not going to be moving the ball. Zach Charbonnet is not going to be moving the ball. They're not going to be moving the ball on offense. So as the Lions, you have to keep that offense off the field and be able to run the ball, and I don't think you're keeping Seattle on the sidelines offensively if you have Jared dropping back more than 25 times. Like I think this has got to be a game where you just stick to running the ball and let it just through the 4 quarters, let it take its course. Because the offensive line is better at run blocking. But when you look at all the pressures you guys just talked about, that's at getting after the passer. Jerome Baker, one of the linebackers, good at getting after the quarterback, and they're going to be sending him the whole night. So it's going to be interesting, but I do not think Goff stays clean by any means.
Well, honestly, it's a perfect segue because I did want to talk about that today, at least in this matchup, and I kind of see where you went with it, Klotzy, about what side of the ball you guys think will matter more this week. Like, what side of the ball do you think the Lions are going to have to lean on this week to win, and like be dependent on? And you mentioned the defense, and the more I thought about this question, I think it's the offense they're going to have to depend on because of this. I think the defense, we already know what they're capable of and what they've shown, but there comes a time where your defense can hold an opponent to 3 points in the second half, like they did against the Arizona Cardinals, but your offense has to do something. It's like poking it with a stick and being like, do something, move. Like this offense has to show up. Like Brian just listed you know, all the stuff about how the Geno Smith is great in a dome and this offense looks very good. You know, they have Ryan Grubb, who's a college OC from Washington, and they want to air it out and run the ball, which they won't be able to. So the defense, yes, I get that. I just think the offense this week has to look not only like the first half against Arizona, and I'm not saying do that in both halves. I'm not saying you have to score 40 this week for me to be appeased or me to say, okay, that was a success. But the offense this week, you can't go scoreless in the second half. I'm sorry. Like, I think it's putting too much pressure on this defense. Offense has to help them out. Defense has helped them out the first 3 games. I think the offense this week is going to be important. Obviously, you have to score points, but I think it's going to be one of those battles where, hey, Jared, it's tied game, 4th quarter. This offense, Jameer, David, which I pointed out as my impact players, they got to go down and score some points here. And I'm not talking about field goals. Like, they have to go punch one in. So I think the offense this week is going to be more important because the defense, we kind of know what they are. The offense has to show up. That's where I'm leaning this week.
I mean, we know what they are defensively, and that's a damn good unit. And we've seen when this Detroit Lions offense is humming against the Seattle Seahawks team, and it's still not enough. They always get into shootouts, and it's always the Seattle Seahawks walking out the W. And I think, I mean, the offense needs to show up, but the offense is not going to be to what it was. I mean, we talk about Frank Ragnow being out, Sam Laporta being hurt, not Frank Ragnow, but just you look at the whole up front of this offensive line right now, it's just not looking great. So offensively, they're going to be hindered. Defensively, you've been playing good, but now you need to play better and step up because this is arguably one of the better offenses that you've played. I mean, they've played the Rams, Buccaneers, and Cardinals. The Seahawks right now, they're probably on the best trajectory as an offense. So when you look at that, defensively, you better have the best game because your offense is not going to be able to do what it normally does. So you have to make some plays. Kirby Joseph has to have a big game. Aiden Hutchinson has to have a big game. Brian Branch, Alex Anzalone, all of these guys need to step up in ways that they didn't in the years prior, especially like you look at last season. All 3 of these guys outside of like Terran Arnold and Carlton Davis and just the new acquaintances, like they were not against the Seahawks team. So you add them in, they need to step up and make plays because you know the Seattle offense is going to, at some point, they got to be able to answer back.
All right. We got a little tiebreaker here, boys. 1 offense, 1 defense. You guys know I do have the NFL script. I always have had it. This is the thing, though. We've seen, I don't really care what's happened in the past over the last few seasons with this matchup. Like, I don't think that matters. Like, we see what the NFL is like right now. Some random teams going 3-0, random teams 2-1, teams that we've never thought would go 0-3. Every year in the NFL is a new year. The one thing that's been holding this Detroit Lions team back is just one thing and one thing only. And it's the most shocking thing in the world because it's the only thing that you've had all of these guys together for 2 or 3 years now, and they're the problem on your team. It's the offense. Like, the offense is going to make or break this game. The offense is going to be the team that you're going to be dependent on, and you're going to have to like, hey, if this offense isn't rolling, guess what? You're going to lose the football game. Like, Klotz, to your point, like in the past, it's been an offensive game, but at the end of the day, like, the defense is a lot better. And what happens if your offense isn't rolling this game? You're going to lose 40-10, like 40-17.
Well,
like, this offense has to step up. This offense has to step up. The last 3 weeks, this offense has been terrible at times. The second half of last week, it was 3-0 in the second half. If your defense doesn't step up and do anything, you're sitting there and it's zero. Like, the offense got bailed out by the defense, and you would have lost the game. So, like, the offense at some point has to step up. Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, like, you have to depend on your offense on Monday night. Like, if it's a shootout like you said it's been in years past, like, yeah, your offense is going to have to play with them because guess what? Geno Smith, they're going to come up and they're going to show up. Like, that offense is going to show up. They have K9 back. Just like Brian said, DK is playing his best football of his career right now. Tyler Lockett's not a scrub. Noah Fant's not a scrub. He's cooked us a lot. So, yeah, whether your defense got better or not, if your offense played like it did in the second half versus the Cardinals or like it did versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1 for 7 in the red zone, you're not going to be in this football game, whether your defense plays the best game in the world or not. So, like, this all depends on Monday night. Does this offense finally turn this thing around? Because the defense is going to do its job. The defense is going to keep you in this game somehow, some way. Now, Can this offense figure this thing out? That's what it comes down to. And I think that's what this whole game depends on. Like, we're all going to be sitting on the edge of our seats like, all right, did the offense figure it out? Did they figure it out here? And it's not bad on them because they had a great first half. To Jeff's point, listen, go and do what you did in the first half. You win this game 42-17. Like, you'll win this game if you do what you did in the first half versus the Cardinals. But if you do what you did in the second half, you're in a bad spot. So you do have to, like, Jared Goff, as much as you guys think I'm a Jared Goff slappy or a Ben Johnson slappy, show up on Monday night. Because if you don't, you're not going to win the football game.
I get what you're saying as far as the offense can't play bad, but the offense is not going to get clicking this week. Like, without Frank Ragnow, this offense is not going to meet its stride. Like,
that's wrong. That's wrong. Like, it can get clicking.
We all said, like, even yesterday, we all said this is going to be a defensive game. We all said this is not going to be the offense.
Yeah, but if your offense isn't doing, like, it depends on your offense.
But
like, your offense is going to have to put points up to win this game.
The offense is hindered right now. Frank Ragnow being out is huge. That's a loss. That's like a wounded limb. If you have two limbs, your two legs, if one leg is hurt, you're not looking at that leg and be like, you better work. You're looking at that other leg and be like, you better step up.
I mean, you have one first down offensively.
There's got to be. I think right now the defense has been successfully carrying this offense in key situations outside of the overtime drive against the Rams. And now that the offense is hurt, yeah, they've been playing good, but now you need to play better because one of the best players on the team is out. Because if you don't play better, we're already not going to score as many points.
So the defense potentially might not be without Brian Branch and no Marcus Davenport. That doesn't matter.
The defense, in my opinion,
the same thing on the other side. Like, they're injured as well.
When you look at how this team is right now and how this Lions team has been playing, they've been playing poor offensively, good defensively. When you look at these head-to-head matchups against the Seahawks, Lions offense has played good, Lions defense has played bad. Something's got to change there. It's got to be the defense stepping up because they can kill you from.
I get your point. Your point is, like, I get it, but, like, the defense has already been playing good. They just held the team to 3 points in the second half.
They've been winning.
Because the offense played well in the first half. If they play bad all game, if they play bad the whole game, you lose this game.
Even if the defense plays bad, you lose the game.
All right, so to that point, there's no right answer. But if the offense,
that's not what I'm saying.
All right, if the offense doesn't play well for the whole game, the defense can still do, and they could even play better than what they did last week, and you're still losing this football game.
I disagree.
You are. That's a fact.
If
they play like they did in the second half last year, they're scoring 0 points. Or last week, they're scoring
This is why I disagree. So the Lions, defensively, they need to step up because offensively, like I said, I think they run the ball. I don't think this Seattle Seahawks team is necessarily going to be able to stop the run. If they're relying on Jared Goff to air it out this week, it's not going to happen. Like, you don't win this game. I don't think this is the game where we should look for this Lions offense to click. I think out of the bye week against the Cowboys, against that defense, and Malik Neighbors, I saw just cook this secondary. So I hope that if that Giants offense is moving down the field, the Detroit Lions can as well. This has got to be a defensive game. You're going up against a defensive-minded head coach, and your offense is weak. You got to find a way to stop this offense in Seattle situationally because the Detroit Lions offense can go out there and drop a shit. They're not going to drop a dud. They're going to move down the field. And you got to stop the Seahawks from doing that just as consistently. That's what I think it comes down to.
Like, I think both are important, obviously. You know, like that's
win
like,
the game defensively. That's obvious.
Yeah, I think my thing is why I picked offense because I think it'll be a lower scoring game, but that still stands in my favor. Like, I still think if it's 17-17 in the fourth quarter, the question was what would the Lions depend on more? Like, what would they need to lean on? Yeah, their defense. Like, the last couple of games, they've been the side of they've been the side of the ball they've been leaning on. I think this week with this defense, tied game in the fourth quarter, you need this offense to go down and score. Like, that's why I'm saying depend on. Even if the Seahawks go score right back, then the offense has to go and score. Like, you know, and
yes.
that's, and I get like that's simple. That's like simple math. You score more than your opponent.
My thing is if you're not in that situation, in my opinion, if the defense is not playing well through all four quarters, if the Seahawks start out hot, they start out 14-0, you're forcing Jared Goff to throw the ball. The Seahawks are going to take advantage of that. In my opinion, you have to hold the Seattle offense to under 20 points. If you hold them to 40 points, the Lions are not going to win a shootout this week. It's not going to happen.
I mean, even holding them under 20, it's like you have to depend on this offense to finally click.
Yeah, but you're holding this offense to 20 points. That's a defensive game. It's which defense is playing better because neither offenses are. You got which defense played better in that game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to come. I mean, obviously the defense playing well. I just think it's like, although it's cool to see the defense be like the big reason why they've won games. I think this week and eventually it can't be like that all year. Like the offense. I get it's a good defense, and I mean I'm trying to measure. I mean, still they have talent, and they're going to be out without some guys, like especially no Byron Murphy or no Leonard Williams. That's a matchup the Lions just have to take advantage of, like offensively, like running the ball. That's why my impact players, I got the running backs there. So we'll see. I mean, I agree. We'll get to our final scores tomorrow about like how the game will actually look. I just think, man, like this offense, like you just please don't go scoreless in the second half. Like I don't think you can just hold teams to 3 points.
I mean, it's just like at the end of the day, you can hold them under 20, but if your offense is struggling like it did in the second half, this is the best defense probably you're going up against all year. If the offense is played like it has the first 3 weeks, you're losing this game. That's a fact. I don't care what your defense does. You're losing this game if your offense doesn't get in rhythm. It's just that's the way this isn't the defense, the Cardinals defense that has guys missing. Like this is a legit defense with Mike Macdonald. We saw what Mike Macdonald did with the Ravens last year. Yeah, he had pieces, but to Brian's point, look what happened when he left. Like there are guys struggling on that defense now. Like yeah, it's going to be a defensive game. That's a fact. We all know it's a defensive game. But if your offense doesn't find a way in a handful of drives to click and go win this football game, you will lose this game. It's plain and simple. That's it. Like if the offense doesn't find a way to get put some drives together and some legit drives to get to 24 points, game's over. And that's where it's like you have to lean on Jared Goff. You have to lean on your run game, on Ben Johnson. What got you there last year? You have to be able to put long drives together. You have to be able to run the ball down their throats and keep this defense on the football field. And you have to keep your defense off the field so you're able to win this game offensively. And yeah, it's a defensive game, but offense is going to be like that's going to be the make or break. Because it's a defensive game, guess what? Offense is going to be the one that tells it. It's even on defense. All right, who offensively is going to set themselves apart? Who's going to end up breaking the other defense? And if the Lions can do that offensively, that's how you win this football game. Like that's what it is. This is a legit this isn't the Cardinals defense. This is a legit defense. And yeah, even if they have injuries, this is a legit defense. It's like going up against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago with Todd Bowles. Like they know what they're doing.
What did I think Shannon Sharp said this. I heard him say this the other day, and people were coming after him because he brought up Joe Burrow. Like he said the Bengals, Joe Burrow has to be better against the Commanders or something, and they were like, well, the defense is bad. He's like Mike Shannon always said, if you lose 13-10, defense should have did their job, or if they lose. Or if you lose 45-48, offense should have scored again. So, like, based on how this game will look, you'll know. I just hope the defense, like, I love that the defense at this season has been, like, the reason. But I just think, man, there's going to be a time where, like, I don't know. Maybe it's me being skeptical as from what we've seen. Like, I think this defense is good. I just don't think it's, like, 85 Bears. Like, let's go out there and we'll score, this offense eventually – got to go out there.
You're not going to win a Super Bowl if your defense is the reason you keep winning games. Like you won't. Like it's not going to happen.
Well, let's bring out Mike, dude. Let's get Mike in here. And then we're gonna get to Booner's DAWGS of the week in about 7 minutes. And this this graphic you're gonna appreciate. Let's bring in Mike. Mike, hold up. How you doing,
gentlemen? How we doing?
What's up, Mike? Michael.
Mr. Michael Gentry, can I interest you Tigers playoff appearance and apparently Marco Casper? I was told, I got some sources on the inside. I got people that to keep me updated just so I can, we have this battle between us with the Red Wings and the Pistons, even though we love both, but we have this little battle. Marco Casper, I was told, playing very well. And then the Tigers are in the playoffs. I mean, your thoughts on all this, Mike? I mean, it's a good time to be a Detroit sports fan.
You said it. No, and I honestly, the Red Wings looked pretty good in general last night for the forward group. There is some things that they could clean up defensively, maybe get some more offensive zone time. But you had Billy Husso, his first game back, returning from injury in net, let in a soft one early. But other than that, made some good saves. There was a few of the younger guys out there, too, forward-wise, that, showed some heart. Marco Casper was probably one of the better players really in general on the ice last night and Carter, Missouri. So there was a lot of young guys that took action, and they look good.
Well, he was interesting.
And the Tigers, man. I mean, we're trying to get down to the game today. We're trying to get down to the game this weekend, but today is just electric. Another day, this team finds a way to win. The bullpen sticks in there, and then they come up with 4 runs in the last 3 innings, and they get to steal the win. So, and I think the Twins are actually down right now. I think the Marlins are pulling it out for us.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they are. So
that means I think if they
looking good, man.
If the Twins lose, I think the Tigers win tomorrow, and they're in.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the magic number was 2 after today, and if the Twins lose today, the Tigers I think can cap it off tomorrow. So maybe we won't need that weekend game, Boone. But hey, the atmosphere has been electric, so we might have to make it out there anyways.
Yeah, you know what I did read though? I was reading Jason Benetti and the story of him because he's had to cover some losing baseball, and now he's here watching like this environment. And I saw some videos from the ballpark over the last couple of days. That place looks like a playoff game. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs, but like I haven't seen Comerica Park that packed since like the stretch with Miggy to like end his career, like him chasing records. Like I have never seen Comerica Park that electric. So like that's great to see. Like whoever's going to those games, if you've been to a game or you're going to a game soon in the next couple of days,
Saturday.
I'm jealous, man.
Saturday.
It's a hell of an environment.
You got Red Wings preseason at home Saturday too at night, so you can make it a little double dipper. Go to the Tigers game during the day, see them maybe cap it off, and then if it's not already capped off before then, and then you can watch the Red Wings that night. So
yeah, I'm all in on it. My Saturday is going to be great.
my Saturday is going to be great.
And then Monday night football, day off in between, and then Detroit Lions Monday night football. It's unbelievable.
And Boone, I know we'll probably talk about it later, or maybe you'll talk about it here in your next segment. But college football this weekend too. We got OSU, MSU, we got Georgia, Alabama. There's a lot of good college football on, and then obviously they saved the Lions for Monday too for us. So it's a great sports weekend for the D and Michigan in general. Big weekend. I can't wait.
Hey Boone, I would say there this week a lot of dogs to nominate. A lot of dogs. I mean, there's a lot of dogs you can go through and nominate. I'm curious what you got for us today, Boone.
Hey, all right. Can we get some music in the background?
Yeah, let me get a DJ. You know what? Shame on me for not already having it. Let's go. What do we got?
We need to get after. We need to find some new songs. This song's crazy. Listen to this song. All right, pull it up. Booner's Dogs of the Week, baby. All right. There it is. I was a little covered there. I've got a great list today. I had it in a certain order. Our graphic guy didn't put them in the right order, it looks like here. But guess what? We just like all 5 of these dogs, just like all of them, just like they persevere, we do the same thing. I don't know why, too, by the way. It looks like David Montgomery's thumb is just snapped in half. That is unbelievable. I mean, that's unbelievable. Number 5 on the list, though, and I think it was number 5 on the list that I sent our graphic guy. I'm not going to say who the graphic guy is. He knows who he is.
Fuck that guy, honestly.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Needs to be better at his job and figure this thing out.
Yeah.
The guy that's got a sweating problem. Not a dog. All right. Number 5, dog of the week. The one, the only, the man who has the Detroit Lions at 2-1. It is Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, guys, he deserves all of the praise in the world. He has put together, we said it from the beginning, that, hey, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to have a top 10 defense to go win a Super Bowl. All Super Bowl winners consistently have top 10 defenses. They have great offenses. Yeah, that's inevitable. You know you're going to have a great offense. But what do you need? You need a defense. AG, everyone questioned him. Even myself. I questioned AG last year. What is this guy doing? What are we doing? We don't have a defense. Why can't we cover anyone? Guess what he did this year? They got the pieces, and AG has figured it out. That man is Booner's 5th dog of the week.
Hey, that picture's diabolical, though.
What a picture. What a picture. Number 4. I'm going to look. Oh, actually, That was supposed to be number 4. Sorry for the graphic eye again. I apologize. But who was supposed to be number 5, but number 4, the one and only. He's not playing on Monday night. He should be playing because he's a dog, and they shut him down. He's so much of a dog that they had to say, "Hey, Frank, you're out this week." And he probably was like, "No, I'm not, coach." And Dan said, "Yeah, you are, man." And he said, "No, I'm not, Dan." And he said, "Yeah, you are, man." Frank Ragnow, 4th dog of the week. Look at him. What a stud. I don't even know where that picture's from.
Yeah.
What a stud, bro. That looks like a high school picture. That's a stud if I've ever seen one. That's a dog if I've ever seen one. That man had a partially torn pec in the middle of a football game and was like, "I'm playing through it. I'm playing through it. I don't care." And he still dominated and had probably the best PFF grade out of all the Detroit Lions offensive linemen. That's Frank Ragnow for you, fellas. All right? Let me hear someone else say it. Someone say, "Give me a dog."
Give me a dog.
All right, there you go, Unc. That was could have been better. We're gonna work on that. Number 3, the man with the broken finger over there, a dog, David Montgomery, baby. Hey, D-Mont, I give him this award just for his running. That man's the hardest runner in football. Someone go find me clips. And if you want to ask Kyle Brandt, who does the angry runs, D-Mont's been on it 2 out of the 3 weeks. This man is one of the angriest and hardest runners that we've seen in the NFL the last couple of years. He doesn't get his credit. See that hat he has on there, that Ice Mountain? Great water. Make sure you guys stay hydrated.
That's a terrible take.
That man stays hydrated. That man gets going. He's a dog, and he is my 3rd dog of the week.
Yeah,
Number 2.
deserved. Well deserved. I don't know why he has the Ice Mountain hat, Boone. I don't even know where I got his photo from.
He's a dog.
But he's a dog. So
Number two. Sorry to interrupt you, Jeff, during my segment. That's on me. I won't interrupt you on my segment again. Graphic guy. Number 2, the 2nd dog of the week. I give it to the Detroit fans, not just Lions fans, not just Tigers fans, not just Red Wings fans, all Detroit fans, minus Pistons fans. But all three other Detroit fans. One, I don't know if you guys saw the videos in Arizona. It is unbelievable, the fans that show out. I posted a video on our Instagram today. Fans chanting Jared Goff's name. The whole stadium in Arizona is rocking Jared Goff's name. And there's even Arizona Cardinals fans that I saw that were chanting his name. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It is unbelievable. The support from the fan base is unbelievable, guys. Like, you guys deserve to be on this list if you were at the game or had friends there. The second one with that, too, Tigers fans. Just Detroit fans showing up, showing out, all dogs on their way to the playoffs. I cannot believe what I've been seeing at Comerica Park. I love it. Hey, shout out to the people. Can we get a round of applause for the people?
Yeah, let's get
everyone join in here. Round of applause for the people. All right. And the last one, I wish we could. Is there a way to engulf this guy's face into the whole screen here? This man deserves to be all the screen time the whole time. The Detroit Tigers, not just AJ Hinch. This whole Tigers team, they are unbelievable. Unbelievable. What is the nickname, Unc? The Gritty Tigers, baby. They are back. Guys, this is the most unbelievable sports run I've ever seen almost in my life. The last 40 games, a team that was dead to nothing, a team that was out. They were selling at the deadline. People didn't know what to think. There were arguments. It's unbelievable. The last 40 games, guys, they have the best record in baseball in the last 40 games. It's one of the most ridiculous runs of all time in baseball history. No one, there's been 2 or 3 runs in baseball history that's ever been like this. The Gritty Tigers are one of the best teams I've seen. I love these guys, all of them. They were losing today. Guess what? Who cares? They're back. They win. They find a way to win. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. I don't even know what the record is in their last 40, but all I know is they're number 1 in Major League Baseball. They're the best team in baseball. They're the hottest team in baseball. And AJ Hinch, you're to thank for that. The players, young players. Tigers are back, fellas. We have a Tigers team. I love it when the Tigers are good. When the Tigers are good, it's one of the best things in Detroit. I love it. I love it so much. So, hey, the Gritty Tigers are the number 1 team on the Booners DAWGS of the week.
Hey, Boone, great. Hey, good stuff. I think these are all fairly nominated dogs. I like AJ Hinch, even though he looks like he just took a hit of something in the photo. But but hey, Boone, these are great dogs.
Sorry
here.
for
These
yelling.
are all
Told myself today I wasn't going to yell. I've yelled twice on the show.
No, you're fine. I mean, is there any other dogs you guys would nominate? I mean, is there? I think these are all like the dogs. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Gentry wants to say Marco Casper so bad right
Yeah.
now.
No, if it was a regular season game, he may make this list, but it's preseason. We'll take it easy for now.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. These are honestly, this is a perfect list, Boone. I love it. Good stuff. I hope you love the pictures, by the way. Took time.
There's no other dogs you guys can think of?
No, I mean, I would
You
say
could say Scooble.
Yeah.
Just shut down again. Guys, automatic win when he's on the mound. So,
let's see. No, I mean, Boone, you got it. I mean, you nailed it. What'd you say, Klotzy?
Brian Branch knocked himself out for a winning effort.
That's a dog. Yeah, I mean,
did he knock himself out?
I mean, it was a head-on collision with Trey McBride. He didn't have to do himself like that. Like he could have won.
Sure.
I mean, it didn't have to be helmet to helmet like he made it.
Yeah, I mean, this you kind of nailed everyone here. I'm trying to think. JT Olson says Michigan's running back dog.
Khalil.
Yeah,
that could have been one. Boom, Khalil. He had a game.
Yeah, you could have threw. Oh, Boone, you could have snuck in a little Michigan.
Ram had a hell of a game too.
Listen. You know what? We didn't talk about Michigan this week. I'll just say,
hey,
Michigan.
I want to hear what you have to say, Booner.
I listen. I went at Michigan last week. I you know what? Rightfully so. And I think Klotz, you've had a lot of times where we went at Ohio State. Rightfully so. What we saw versus Texas was an abomination. Like, that's not what this program's about. That's not what Michigan's about. Nowhere close to it. We just won a national championship. I expect more. I popped champagne for a national championship. I smoked a cigar. I expect more out of Michigan. So last week, you know what I had to do, Klotzy? I had to give them a little shove. I had to say, hey, boys, let's get it going. I had to kick them in the, where? I had to give them a kick. Say, hey, are you guys there? What are we doing here? I had to put a little pressure on Sharon Moore. Sometimes you have to bring the heat and you have to put some pressure on some guys to perform. Like if a head coach, a Lions head coach was bad, hey, what we're going to do? We're going to say something about it. We expect you to perform. It's not because I don't like you. It's because it's honesty. Sharon Moore, all I had to do was just put push them out a little bit, fellas. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Orji, Boone, what'd you think?
It's tough. It's
he didn't do much. At least
there is. By the way, there was breaking news today. Dave Portnoy has committed to giving up to $3 million in NIL deals to the University of Michigan for NILs to get a transfer quarterback. Which, like this year, if they had that, guess who you get? You get like Quinn Ewers or something like that.
Well, Dave Portnoy might save you. I mean, does he know you have Jaden Davis, who's pretty good? Does have faith in Jaden Davis, or?
I have faith in Jaden Davis. That's what I'm waiting for. But hey, if Dave Portnoy wants to spend the bag and keep the QB room loaded, I'm all for it, Boone. I'm all for it.
He better pony up that money. He said it. I saw it come out of his mouth.
Dave Portnoy's sick. He's absolutely sick.
I'll do it. He's got the money. He could do probably three public appearances and get the money, and then here you go.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that game. I mean, USC, the whole thing about them too, from going into that game was like how much more how physical they've been, and then they just got out physical by a team that's just much more physical. So you did. Hey, at least you didn't completely lose your identity. That's a positive. At least you're still a physical team. Alex Orji didn't really have to do much. That's Jerome Moore's offense. I mean, hey, if you can run the ball, throw the ball 5 times for the entire game, that's how you win
this weekend.
Minnesota.
They'll win that game. They'll win that.
I think it's either Minnesota this week or next week. I could be wrong. Hold on, let me double check.
No,
I think it's.
I'm pretty sure it is Minnesota.
They should win that game.
Yeah, Minnesota, 12 o'clock at the big house. Yeah, they should. Listen, the whole Alex Orgy thing, like they do have to find a way, and this is where it comes down to, like, you have to find a way to pass the ball somehow and like establish. You can't have these receivers out there, and it's like it's dirty to do to receivers, and it's hard to get guys to come to your school next year and the year after when you do have decent receivers out there. Like, it's not like they don't have a receiving core. They're just not running plays for these guys. And they're just run. Like, you're not going to be able to do what you did versus Penn State last year every single game this year. Like, Samaj Morgan's too good to be able to just sit in back and just running routes. And I think it was what's his name? What's his name from 97.1 that was talking about it? Doug Karsh. He brought up a good point. Like, hey, these guys are running their routes. At some point, like, they're going to like not want to run a route. And then that's when your offense starts to get messed up. If you go 80% on a route and then you finally pass and Orgy's he overthrows it because the guy's running 80% because you've ran 2 pass plays to a kid all game. And you just have these 4-star receivers or guys like Samaj Morgan and elite athletic guys who are just out there running routes just to run routes and get conditioning it. And they're sitting there and they're like, what am I doing here right now? Like, what is going on? And you lose your offense there. And yeah, you can run the ball and still probably have a good chance to win, but you have to get dynamic a little bit. You have to figure certain things out. You're not going to go out there and beat Oregon. You're not going to beat Ohio State doing what you did last week. Like, that's just a fact. So like, I figure this thing out a little bit. I don't want to lose another game this year. Expectation is to go win them all. Obviously, I know that might not happen, but that's the expectation. Okay. The expectation every week I show up. You guys saw me when we showed up to Texas. I thought it was the best day in the world. There's no way we lose to Texas. I'm in Ann Arbor. The feeling, the fall trees, the smell. We were getting free food, real American beer. Everything was happening, and I was like, "This is the best environment of all time." Horns down to everyone I saw. We were driving down the road, and I just saw Texas license plates just horns down, and it's just like I was like, we're about to beat them by 40. You guys are like, Booner, come on. I'm like, no, we're gonna beat them by 40. They have to do something different.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Bill, because I think if they don't, then they're gonna turn into like a Wisconsin-esque football team, and those are the teams that they'd be able to beat the Illinois, they'd be able to pound up on the Indianas, but when you get to the Ohio States, and now Texas, the Oregon, they get steamrolled just because they're like, even defensively, they'd always be very solid. They'd always be sending a guy to the first or second round of the NFL draft. But when it comes down to it, they weren't anything relevant in the big scope of things when it came down to college football.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you want to have more passing like involved in the offense, and you're not going to win big games without it. And against like those big teams that you named, you're not going to win just running the ball. You're going to have to put up points. But Boone, I think I disagree about the wide receiver core. I don't know if there's any actual dudes in that wide receiver core.
You don't know because they don't go to them.
I mean, even if we've seen even with Davis Warren when he was throwing terrible balls, like they were really getting no separation. So like, I'm not too confident in them. They need to get some more superstars on the as far as weapons go, as far as wide receivers go, and then they need to get a quarterback that can throw it to them. But right now, honestly, it might be best to just kind of stick to the run game, because I think with the separation not being there, and then Alex Orgy throwing those like almost 50-50 balls with the way he's throwing, I don't know if it will end up too well.
You have to find a way to get the pass. I don't know if you have to scheme something up. You cannot. There's a zero. I promise you, there's a 0% chance you beat Oregon and Ohio State if you don't have a pass game. There's no chance.
Booner, they got no pulse.
Like, then it's over. But there's zero chance.
He's dead.
Unless you figure something out in the pass game, there's 0 chance. You're not running the ball 100 times versus those two teams.
Switch to the wing T like Georgia Tech used to do. Stay in the wing T, maybe like one or two times a game. You leak the quarterback out for a little pop pass.
Dude, play some Army ball.
Why not Army, Navy. Take a script out of their playbooks, Jerome.
Yeah.
It's funny. Neil actually texted me today and asked if I was enjoying Michigan football, because I always used to say how the Army-Navy games were so boring and that I wasn't watching them run the ball. And here we are, Michigan. All they can do is run the ball. They can't complete a pass worth of shit. So Neil kind of made me eat my words with that one, but it is what it is.
You just respond with, hey, well, how about that defense, though?
I said I'm a national champion. I don't care what he thinks, Boone. That's what I said.
Yeah, kiss the ring, Neil.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you're the national championship winning team and like this is the quarterback play that you come out with the next season. Like this is like unprecedented. They don't even have a jag. Like they don't have a guy that can throw consecutively for 100-yard games, like at least accurately. Like it's just poor to watch. I'm not even trying to sound like Ohio State fan right now, but even it's just what the fuck? Like I don't understand how that slides. Like there's no way that should slide.
I mean, I think no one going into the season expected Alex Orji to be this unpolished as he is, and I don't think if Sharon Moore had known that, you should have went out and got a quarterback. I know we've said this a million times, but it is still mind blowing to me, Lucas. Davis Warren, Alex Orji, that's the best you could come up with, and that's what you wanted to rebound a national championship season with. It's, as Booner would say, it's disrespectful to the Michigan fans.
It is. They should be lucky that we're all still supporting him right now, Sharon Moore. I don't care if you just want a big game.
I don't know, Boone. I'm telling you, even I'm an Ohio State fan. I still don't support Ryan. It's okay to not support Sharon Moore.
No,
it's okay.
As a human, I like Sharon Moore. Like I said last week, I went at him. I had to give him a kick in the butt. I had to get this man going a little bit, and he listened. He heard what I had to say, and he responded. So now again, Sharon Moore, he's listening. I'm sure again he listens to the show. Listen, let's get a pass. Let's incorporate some passes here. Let's find something. Let's scheme some things up here, Sharon. I know you're a run guy. Yeah, like anything. Just you have to mix it up a little bit. Get the defense on their toes a little bit. Keep them on their heels. Let them. I said toes and then heels. Put them on their heels. Make them think about it. Make them think a little bit, and then you just pound the rock.
Well, as you mentioned big game.
We have Khalil Mullins though. We're doing everything.
The Khalil Mullins army, one-man army.
Yeah, he's Hassan Haskins-esque big fella.
I used to hate him too. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. No, Khalil Mullins, because I'm pretty sure Khalil's the one that fumbled it at the 1 yard line at TCU and ended the whole game. If he doesn't fumble it at the 1 yard line, it's a completely different game, and you probably have a chance to win a national championship and be back-to-back national champions. I almost blame Khalil Mullins just for that, not being back-to-back national champions.
Hey, Boone, you mentioned a big game. Well, the Lions playing a big game. I want to do over-under. We'll give our over-unders for the game itself, how we see some guys playing out. We do this every week before the game. What do you got this week for some over-unders?
Am I leading this one?
Go ahead, Boone.
All right, I got you guys. Let's get the music rolling, get the things going. Over-under, Detroit Lions versus Seattle Seahawks, fellas. Started off in the offensively. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the man himself, the all-pro wide receiver, over under 80.5 yards this week, fellas. I feel like that it's getting higher and higher every week. Going up against a really good a secondary there. What are you guys' thoughts? Amon-Ra St. Brown, over under 80.5.
I'm gonna go under by a little bit. I think I can see him getting 8 for 70, 8 for 65, something like that. I think this is a very good secondary for me to expect him to get close to 100 yards, even though it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I'll go under by a little bit.
I'm going to agree. I was going to say the same thing. I think he'll be right around there. I think he'll have 7 to 8 catches, but I think he'll be 75 yards. I think 80.5. I mean, that's a lot. And when you're facing one of the best secondaries in the league, I think one of the best defenses in general, I think they're going to be keying in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think there's going to be a couple other people that are the more important pieces to the offense as far as this week goes.
Over. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I understand that the secondary is very good, but Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to make plays. I think that Ben Johnson's going to make it imperative that Amon-Ra gets going, even if it's through the screen game. I think Amon-Ra's a guy that, regardless of how good they may be in the slot, people we brought it up all the time in the offseason. He is not a guy that lines up strictly in the slot. He'll line up out wide. And because he's going up against good corners, I agree with that. He's still going to find ways to take advantage of him and get open. And I think that they're going to throw the ball to him at least 10 times. If Amon-Ra has 10 targets, I'm at least banking that he has 80 yards off of that.
Wow.
What about you, Boone?
Okay. I'm looking at something right now. I'm interested in something right now. I'm looking.
What is he looking at?
I'm still looking. Huh. Very interesting. Give me the over 80.5. Hey, I'm in Rod. Listen, I don't care. And shout out Brian for joining the show. I don't care if he thinks Devon Witherspoon might be able to get him this week, that he's been one of the better guys in the slot. Listen, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. This man's an all-pro for a reason. He had 7, or what would he have, 70-something last week? What do you have last week? Let me check.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
I got you. 75, 119 the week before. This is Amon-Ra St. Brown at Ford Field. He's going to have a game prime time in the black uniforms. Tell me this isn't a game. You see 100 yards from Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches, a touchdown, and guess what? We're going to be on stream. Guess what I'm going to do? As soon as he hits his touchdown dance, I'm going to hit the touchdown dance. I can't wait to see Amon-Ra St. Brown get in the end zone again. I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown over 80.5. Next one here. Wide receiver number 2, Jameson Williams, over or under 50.5. Where are you guys going with this one?
Ooh.
50.5. I'll. You know what? I'm going to go over. I think they need him this week. And I do think with Sam Laporta not being 100%, I don't know if he's going to play or not. They're going to rely on JMO heavily. So I can see a big play somewhere, like a 30, 40-yard catch. But more than that, I can see him just cutting up this defense a little bit, yards after catch. I could see like a 20-yard yak play from JMO. So JMO, I'll go over. I think he gets over 50, whether it's 55, 60, whatever, 51 in this instance. I'm going over. I agree with you, Jeffrey. I said someone else would be the main component of the offense. I still think it's going to be more of the run game, but I think JMO will be the leading wide receiver here in the game. I think he'll probably end up with maybe only 5 to 6 catches, but I think he gets to the yak yards like you mentioned, and I think he gets over that 50. Obviously, last week wasn't really the JMO game that we were all expecting. Had a few plays that really came up short, but I think JMO bounces back this week. He hits that over.
Yeah, I'm going just over. I think he gets like 3 catches, 55 yards. I think that the offenses or defensively, Seattle, like we just talked about, it's going to be focused on Amon-Ra. JMO at least 2 or 3 times going to find a way to take advantage of that. I just think, like back to what we were talking about before, I don't think Jared Goff's going to be having a clean pocket all night. So I don't think he's going to be getting the 12 targets like he was, 11 targets, whatever it was, against was that the Buccaneers game or was that the Rams game that he got? But either way, both those games, he got a lot of targets, and I don't think it's going to be that type of situation again.
Yeah, hey, give me the over. I think JMO, not if he has a ton of catches. I just think like he's going to be in open field a couple times on Monday night. Like, I see a couple plays for JMO to be in open field, make a couple plays, has like 3 or 4 catches. Let's say 4 catches for 57 yards, and he has a couple like a 20-yard run, a 10-yard, a couple short, has a couple small ones. So I'm gonna go over on this one. I think it's in the 50s though. Next guy, we're moving to the running backs here, fellas. David Montgomery. Over or under 56.5 rushing yards. Where are you guys rolling with that? David Montgomery, too, just mind you, let me pull it up here. I'll make sure I give you guys some stats on him. But David Montgomery, I think, may have almost came close to this yardage every single week so far. He has 230 on the season. He's hit 105, 35, and 91. So 2 out of the 3 games, he's hit this mark by quite a lot. But what are you guys taking on this?
Yeah, I mean, come on. No Frank Ragnow, no problem. Actually, slight problem. But I think without Byron Murphy and without Leonard Williams, I think D-Mont's the one that's for sure going to hit that over. I just think with how this game I think will be played, they're going to rely heavy on the run game. I mean, I had both the running backs and my impact players. I think they're going to make an impact. So I'm going over on Dave Montgomery easily.
I think this one's without a doubt. They got to stop disrespecting this man with these 50-yard rushing lines and whatnot. We've seen what he can do last week when the Lions control the momentum and they feed the running backs the ball and they control it on the ground. So I think this is an easy over. I think him and Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm sure we'll bring that one up. I think they're going to be the X factor with the Lions winning this game. Even with the offensive line banged up, I still think those 2 are going to be a huge part. So I'm taking the over for Monty.
Run the ball. Keep it out of Jared's hand as much as you have to. Not saying that Jared's going to be bad, but just going back to the pass protection, I still think they're going to have success on the ground. And if David Montgomery's running the ball, he's going to get over 56 yards. So give me the over.
This is, guys, this is another weird one. I have no clue why both of these lines. You have David Montgomery at 56.5, and I'll go with you guys in a second with Jahmyr Gibbs at, I think, 50.5, 52.5. There's no reason these guys you don't even need to take a straight bet on these guys. Parlay them together and take the over on both of them. I don't care what defense you're going up against. This is your identity as a football team. Like Ben Johnson, are you trying to figure this offense out? Run the ball and go out there and set the tone. Both of these guys have hit this mark 2 out of the 3 games. Jahmyr Gibbs hit it last week, 83 yards. The week before, 84 yards. And I already gave you guys the Monty stats. Like, these guys are going to hit this every single week. At some point, Vegas will have to stop disrespecting the Detroit Lions and in these running backs, and they're going to have to go out there and give them a real line. Go give them 60. Go give them 70. But while they're both in the 50s, hammer them. Hammer them.
Well, actually, let me give you an update. So the Dave Montgomery line's at 65.5. Jahmyr's the same, though.
It's moved up.
It's 65.
So it went up 9 yards.
9? Is that real?
What?
Yeah, no, this is actually 65.5.
What was that? Where did you get 56 at earlier?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the line, so I just kind of came up with that one. It's way
made
higher.
Up these lines? Did you make up all these lines?
Dave Montgomery, I did kind of make up.
Did you make all the lines up, or just
No, I didn't make up all of them. Dave Montgomery, I did.
Damn it, Jeff.
65.5.
What, dude? You can't have me handing out fake lines here, dude.
Hey,
I mean,
maybe. You know what? 65.5. There you go.
I mean, man. All right, give me the over 65.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Let's go back around the room. Do you guys? Anyone's changing?
No.
That was one of the more all-time things I think we've ever had on this show.
It's still over. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't.
Gross that I just made it.
Yeah, I mean, I would still take the over at 65.5 or whatever.
That's so funny, man.
I'll take the fake line and the real line.
Yeah, I don't care what the line is. I'm betting the over.
Jeff and his clickbait, man.
He clickbaited a line.
Yeah, that's crazy. It wasn't even clickbait. It was just straight, just fake. It was fraud. Not even anything no.
Yeah, the best thing is that he realized wow, that is a low line, and he went and looked it up. He was like, I have.
Yeah, he didn't even have to say anything. Well, fellas, actually,
you could have just let us keep going. No one would have known.
Yeah, but hey, I wanted to clarify. All right, should have just kept my mouth shut. You guys are a bunch of dudes.
What's the Jahmyr Gibbs one? Do you have that?
It's 53.5. So it's
okay. 53.5. I'm still taking the over. What are you guys taking with that?
It doesn't change. Over.
I still would take the over for Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. Over. Lucas?
Over. Job, man.
Do you think this is more of a Monty game or is it more of a Jahmyr game as far as the ground game goes, Lucas?
I think it's probably both balance and production, but it needs to be more of a Monty game just because we talk about how, with no Frank, that's going to be a physical piece of your offense that's not there. We talk about it again. You want to keep the Seattle offense off the field. And I think the guy that keeps drives going better, sustained, to kill clock is David Montgomery. But Jahmyr does need to have those splash plays because I think that puts this offense in better position quicker. Go down the field, score. I think Jahmyr's the guy that you want in, but it's all right, we're up by a touchdown. David, go in the game, kill the clock. Let's go get 7 here.
All right, next line here, fellas. Aiden Hutchinson over under 1.5 sacks. Where are you guys going with that one?
All right, I have a different one. I think he pushes, Boone. He's going to get exactly 1.5. He's going to have his one where he gets straight to the quarterback, and then he's going to get a helper with someone. I don't know who it is. Maybe DJ Reader. I don't know. Maybe one of the guys that edge is stepping in. Who knows? But I'm going he pushes 1.5.
Yeah, actually, I'm with you there. I don't know about 2 sacks this game. I mean, that'd be.
So pick 1 or 2. What are we doing here, felt push?
Or you can push. Hey, you can push.
Well, then I'll go under.
Very fair. Hey, that's what I'm going with 2 under. I just think it's going to be one of those games where Gino's getting the ball out of his hands quickly. I think Hutch gets a sack, but I don't think 2.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under 1.5. I think he gets 1 this week. I think it's going to be it's going to be like Geno Smith's going to be able to get around a little bit. I expect, and I know the defensive line hasn't stepped up all around Aiden Hutchinson. I expect at some point this whole defensive line to step up. At some point it's going to have to happen, and I hope it's this week. Hope Levi O's healthy, Aleem's healthy. Maybe James Houston goes. I'm hoping for it. So I'm going to say he gets 1 sack this week. I'm going to go with 1.
I'm with you.
Next line. Jared Goff, over or under 240.5 passing yards?
Is this? Yeah.
What?
I was saying, is this the actual line? Because I had some.
I don't know, dude. Jeff put the lines in the.
I know.
today.
So I have these written.
Jeff put the lines in the prep, and I'm just reading off the prep.
No. Let me show you.
It's my turn.
Bro's getting ornery.
You fucking look at that.
Hey, don't be mad that accountability is being held
it's 240. It was 240.
No. The accountability is fair on the David Montgomery line. All right. That's
someone give their line. Over under.
All right. I'm going under. Either way, I'm sorry, Lucas. I didn't know if you were going to actually go there or someone was going to go. But I'm going under. I think the ground game is going to be the more of where the bulk of the yards come from. I still think J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown get theirs to a certain extent. But Sam Laporta being out, I don't know who else is going to step up in that wide receiver room. I think you just stick with what works and pound the rock on the ground with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm taking the under for Goff.
Yeah, I don't think that Jared Goff. How many did you throw for last week? Did you throw for 240? Boom.
199.
How much was it?
199.
Yeah, so against this defense with no Frank, I don't think he gets over 240 this week. I think, like Gentry said, and I think we all agree, you got to stick to the ground game this week, and I think this is kind of forcing them to with just how this defense is and with no Frank.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. I think it's under because they're going to rely on the run game. I think I hit the overs on the running backs. Jared, I'll go slightly under. I mean, it's 240.5. I can see him get like 225. I think that's a fair number. I don't see him throwing for 250, 270, something like that. So I'll go under on this line as well.
Give me the over. He's going to throw over 240 yards. He's going to. I don't care. Ben's going to figure this offense out. I'm going to stick with that. I think it's going to be a tough defensive game, but I think at some point this offense is going to click. I think it ends up being this on Monday night. Prime time, I think there's going to be a couple big-time plays that he makes with J-Mo and Amon-Ra. I think Sam Laporta, if he's healthy, he gets involved. Gibbs, give me Tim Patrick maybe a little bit. Maybe Tim Patrick sighting. So I'm going to go over on this one. I think he ends up bouncing back. It's about 250. Let's do next one here. Here we go. Kirby Joseph. Oh, actually, let's skip that one. Let's do Detroit Lions team total points. Over or under 24.5.
Ooh.
This is real, by the way.
Real?
Yeah, it's real. I think
Hey,
24.5. I'll go under on this. I'm not going to give out my final score, but I'll go under.
I'm going to go under as well, and I will give my final score. It's going to be a 24-17 ball game with the Lions winning. So the Lions are going to go under this team total by half a point. Vegas always knows. I think they get 3 touchdowns, 2 of those coming on the ground. Jared Goff throws for 1, and then we get a Jake Bates field goal. So I'm going 24-17 Lions, and I'm taking the under.
Under. I'm saving my score prediction as well, but I don't think the Lions even reach 24. I think it's a defensive ball game, and I think once you start going over 24, you start getting like the 27, 28, 30. That's what I think becomes an offense.
Nice, Klotzy, over 24. You got all those numbers. I love it.
I could count a little bit, Boone.
Yeah, that was funny how you said it. You're like, once you start getting over 24, there's like 25.
You get like the 20, 25 area, 26.
Whoa. I'm going to, you know what? I don't know. This is a tough one to like lock in because I'm back and forth on my score prediction still right now. And I want to say over. I think by tomorrow when we do our score predictions, I'm going to end up being over 24.5. So I'm going to say over right now.
Okay.
And that's all the lines. That's all we've got all the lines locked in.
Well, Kirby Joseph?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I mean, the over under, I mean, it's really like the question can be if a defensive player's like that, like it's either you're saying yeah, interception or not. It's not really a line. So it's like if there's an interception, guys, on Monday night, I'll say this. Which player do you think it ends up being? Who are you betting on?
Kirby Joseph. I think it's going to be Kirby again. Because I think the DK Metcalf averaging like 15, 16 yards a catch, Gino's going to try and test that matchup, him and Carlton. I think it's going to have to be a safety that, comes in, saves the day, gets a turnover, and I'm going to go with Kirby on that. I think Kirby gets another interception this game. He'll have 3 in 4 games.
Kind of a bold prediction for me, but I'm going to go Carlton Davis, the dude that will be matched up on DK Metcalf. I think we just get a bad ball from Geno. If that's the case, I think it goes right into Carlton Davis for his first interception as a Lion. So I'm going Carlton Davis.
Wow. Give me
Unk. Huh.
who are you going like, Klotzy?
I was gonna say Carlton Davis, but then Unk had to just step in and say, this might be a bold take. No, I'm obviously kidding, Unk, but that's a great prediction, I think, as well, because you look at it, Carl Davis has been struggling. He needs a play to kind of get flipped around. He's a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he's gonna be locking down DK Metcalf, but like we all kind of alluded to, DK Metcalf is gonna get his looks. Carlton will make a play out of one of them.
Hell yeah.
Hey, if Brian Branch plays football on Monday night, Brian Branch is getting an interception. Lock that in now. I've been pretty good. I've 2 out of the 3 weeks I've called an interception from a player. Actually,
have you done 3 out of 3?
I'm 3 for 3. Week 1, I said Kirby. Week 2, I said Brian Branch. And then last week, I gave out the Kirby Joe. Wow. I'm not giving mine out yet. I'm waiting until Monday. I'm not giving one out yet.
But you just said Brian Branch.
No, I'm taking it back. I will have a bet, and I will have something locked in on Monday for the people. If I'm 3 for 3, I have to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, that's insane too.
Yeah. So I will get back to you guys on Monday with my interception.
I was trying to see. They don't have the interception. They don't have a line out for it, like all the picks or anything.
I mean, usually it's like plus 500 to 600. Kirby would probably be the favorite at like plus 500, and then it kind of goes up from there.
Maybe Terran Arnold gets one this week. Why not? They're going to test him.
I wonder. Do you think he's going to be in the club still?
Doesn't matter. He's catching one in the club.
Yeah, and his face mask or something. Just
yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. Raj is going to join us in a little bit here, so he's just running a couple minutes behind. I saw a comment here I do want to bring up. I love it. Crunch time. Can you explain how you think the Lions' running game does better without Frank? Should they lean harder onto the run? It goes against normal coaching. And then he also said, you guys are never going to be NFL coordinators. You all know that the O-line is banged up. Our replacements are not good in run blocking. Just the opposite. And you have us going heavy run, less pass. Well, I
said the over on Jared Goff, a tour.
No, I actually completely disagree. And number one, the point he made about replacements, it's replacement because Frank Ragnow's out. The rest of the O-line's healthy. So they're probably gonna move Graham to center and have a replacement. So it's not like you're working with the Giants O-line all of a sudden. Like you still have 4 of your 5 starters. So given that, with the run game, I think it's important this week that you're not pass heavy against one of the best secondaries in the NFL. They have 2 defensive linemen out for the Seahawks. Run the ball. It's very simple. I don't think all these guys, 4 of the 5 starters, just forgot how to run block. I think it's actually idiotic if you have Jared Goff drop back as many times or damn near close to what he did against the Bucs this game against this secondary. At least the Bucs secondary, you could argue injuries, but yeah, that makes no sense actually, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Run the ball. Note they have 2 defensive linemen out. Control time of possession. We know what kind of game it's going to be. Leave with a win. It's that simple. You know, that's where I'm at with it. I don't think Jared dropping back and throwing into the best secondary, arguably in the league, makes any sense.
They're still going to move the ball. They're still, I think, like
yes,
Ben's
they are, but
pass
heavy versus run heavy is the argument.
Yeah, well, the thing with Ben Johnson recently, like last game, I looked it up. Like I thought that he was passing, like. He's been last game outside of the Bucs game. Like last week, he was pretty even. Even in the second half, I went and marked down. I was interested to see if he ran the ball or passed the ball more in the second half when you had that lead, and it was essentially like even. Like both the first half and the second half were basically the same for run and pass. Which, like for me, you guys know how I felt. You probably should have ran the ball more than you did in the first half and the second half. But I do think like Ben tries to get a rhythm. He tries to get something going. I don't know what the exact number was, but you know, it's just the way that Ben is. So I do think there's going to be both. It's going to be both mixed in together.
Yeah, and if Skip's playing, guys, I think Skip's strength is run block. The dude is massive. Like I don't think he's not very quick. They'll put him at guard probably. He'll probably be the guy. But your point here, Artur, about the play action, absolutely. I've been harping on play action the last couple of weeks. So me and you are in lockstep about that. I don't know. I guess I misread your comment if you were talking about like emphasizing the run game this week. Like, if you don't think that's smart, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's like, we'll see what Ben does. I'm assuming that's going to be the focus. Get Jared in play action, keep the secondary guessing, and you'll have some guy. I mean, just dropping back. And I know you're not saying that a tour, but definitely not smart against this secondary. I mean, they got playmakers now, man. They do. They got some playmakers in this defense for sure. All right. Let's see. LFG, I took over on Goff's pass yards. Lions will be in desperation. Catch-up mode won't be run heavy. Hopefully not.
So LFG thinks they're going to lose because they're going to be behind. It was interesting to hear yesterday. Like, the doc was like, "I hope they're down 14-0." So
No
we play them. Like, that was one of the more. I love the doc. That was a crazy comment about that. Like, and I don't think they'll ever be down 14-0 to the Seahawks. Like, I think it's going to be a football game. Like, it'll be a good game. It's either going to be, you're going to see back and forth. So the defense, like we were talking about, Klotzy, the argument that we were having, it's like you might just see the defense just go at it all game. Which defense steps up or offense steps up? I mean, I'm interested to see Jared Goff on Monday. Like just take care of the rock. That's all. Like, you win the game if you just hold on to the rock. Don't throw stupid passes. Be smart with the ball. Maybe like Ben, put him in the right positions to be successful, establish run, play action, all of that. Get that going. Like that. That's like, I think, the biggest thing this week that I'm looking at is Jared Goff.
One of the biggest things, I mean, we talk about it like every week. We talk about it on every live stream, is the third quarter and the fourth quarter slumps. I think if you have that this game, you're not going to be able to keep up. I know we've kind of squeaked through the past couple weeks, but those we got to figure out coming out of halftime, maybe cleaning it up, stop being so cute with the ball, stop doing all these cute plays, stick to what's worked in the first half, and kind of just finish it out. Because I think the way the Seattle's offense and their defense run, if they get too far ahead, it's going to be tough to come back against that defense. So you have to clean up the third quarter coming out of half.
Before Raj joins, I just want to add this. Lucas, Rico Dowdle sucks. So I'll just add that.
It's not over, Jeff.
He's got a tutty on the board. Hefe, I don't know what you're talking about. Best receiver. I never said he was going to be some superstar. I said he's a very fine back.
Sucks.
Rico.
I got him at 25 yards. He has 8.
Yeah, and you're betting on the Cowboys running back core. Why? Against Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Alex. I can't even say his last name, but they got it.
Well, Booner helped me. He kind of told me about Rico Dowdle.
I mean, Rico Dowdle's had 30-plus rushing yards every game. 25 should have been fine.
Yeah, they're going to.
25 is not asking a lot, and if they get up, winning formation to end the game, run down the clock, get a few first downs, he could easily still get it.
He's getting majority of the carries too. Like, I think he'll be fine.
I mean, I think he has like 10 carries already.
I mean, Jeff. One thing Jeff loves to do, and this isn't a personal shot at you, Jeff. This is just honest. Like, I'm being honest.
10 yards.
You overreact sometimes, and you get into these. You jinx bets based off your overreactions.
How do I jinx a bet? I don't know. It just
like he sucks. It's not happening. Like, dude, be like, second half, Rico Dowdle. What he has 9 right now? He has 9. All he needs is 21. Or no, less than that. He needs 16. Let's go. That's all we need. Let's go. Double it.
Boone, you're gonna work on that math with me.
Sucks. You're like an old man.
Boone, I think it was Monday night. It was the Monday night game. You were the same way, though. You were being all negative about your bet, and I told you don't cash it out. And you listened to me. Boone.
That's different. I asked if I should cash out because it was the situation at hand. I wasn't saying the guys suck. I was just saying, hey, situation at hand, this is what's happening. These guys might come out of the game in the fourth quarter. If they come out of the game in the fourth quarter, they're still offering me a double cash out. Should I take it? That's all it was.
Those cash outs, man, they're tempting. I should have took one on Sunday for sure when we did that.
You know what the difference is today of the bet is Jeff is riding this one. He's riding my bet. That's why. Yeah, he's dude. He's like 0 for 4 in bets.
Hey, you know what? I took accountability on David Montgomery's line. How about you take some accountability on what you're sending me? All right. How about you take some accountability? All right.
What, David? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bro didn't know how to connect the dots further.
Every time you bet with me, how many? Hey, what's your record this year, Jeff?
With you, I think I've won once.
No, I've never won with you this year. You're like 0-5. And then as soon
We're
as
0-5, not me.
As soon as you get off those bets, as soon as you get off the bets, I'm like 5-0. It's like there's an actual curse, just doom and gloom above it.
You give me losers, basically.
I think I'm gonna start giving you like a fake bet. Like I'm gonna give you like this is what I'm playing, and I actually have my own over here.
It's like playing with a little brother. You like
a
unplug the controller or something.
Yeah.
You like unplug the controller and you just give me the controller. Like that's fucked up.
I'll give you like the craziest one. Imagine if that hit though, and mine didn't. That would be.
I've only hit one parlay this year, but I've hit a couple like straight touchdown bets. I've hit a couple of them. That James Cook one put a rim on my car, so thank God for that. That game at a very needed time. First touchdown score boosted that bitch too.
Yeah, the James Cook one. Hey, come on.
Hey, that was for
Hey,
I
Jeff.
didn't think about that. Jeff,
Hey.
what was the source from that
Jeff
one?
got a W.
I got one in me. I got one.
You didn't put the first TD though. You had the classic anytime. He puts his head down.
Jeff, I think your thing.
Yeah.
I had the first Bills TD. I didn't
fair.
put my nuts on the table and do first TD like you. I told you to do it, and then I was like, and then I did and then yours did. I should have did it with you.
Jeff, your thing is you always second guess yourself. You go around and show everyone your picks before you lock it in. Ask everyone it's okay. You get 9 different opinions, 4 yes, 4 no, and then you get put in the blender. I think you just need to trust your instinct. That's the main thing. Even if I have a play, I don't go ask Booner if it's okay. It's going in anyways. If Booner wants to ride along, feel free. But
The only time I did that was James Cook one, and it hit. So
what happened to hit? Wow.
When I don't
When you
second-guess.
trust your instincts, Jeff. When you trust your instincts.
Boone's a big instinct guy too. You know, he always brings it up.
He plays
Yeah.
with instincts.
Like,
He
guess what
plays
I bet today? My instinct. Guess what it was?
What was it?
CD Lamb touchdown.
Yeah.
Hey, remember Jeff? When we
CeeDee
talked
Lamb
about
touchdown.
and I didn't do it, but Boone the other day when I was like, Amari Cooper, get a tutty. He doesn't go 3 games out, and literally the next play. Amari
See,
Cooper
I got
tutty.
it. This is like, hey, another guy. Hey, speaking of trusting your instinct, Raj trusts his instinct a lot. And Red Raj on. He's talking about playoffs. And now I see him in the shot. He's wearing the triple hat, the hat squared, hat cubed would be a better way to say it. Hat cubed. Please welcome in Mr.
Jeff
Rogelio Castillo. What up, Raj? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, doing good, man. I'm just right now the Marlins are up 4-1. Bottom of the 7th, so that's why I have the triple double Marlins hat on right now. And normally I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be like a journalist and I'm in the Baseball Writers Association. I'm supposed to be a professional, but fuck that right now because it's just you do what you got to do for whatever. I don't know if you guys are superstitious about stuff, but I also there's also another Marlins hat behind on my wrestling mask right there. So there's another Marlins hat. That's the Miami Marlins, the sugar when they wore their 3rd jerseys. So I'm not messing around. I mean, fuck the Twins. There we go.
Yeah, you know what, Raj? Fuck them all. You know what, Raj? And by the way, I know you've been ecstatic. You've been covering this team since I've met you. You've done a great job. And obviously at the bottom there, you guys can check out Raj's stuff. Raj, how are you feeling through this run? I know we talked about it with you last time you were on, but the last couple of games, how electric it's been. We're seeing videos from Comerica Park. It looks like playoff baseball. It probably will be playoff baseball, but even now, I have never seen Comerica Park that packed, Raj, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably since Miggy was chasing records. I mean, this is ridiculous what's going on. It's great for Detroit sports. What do you think about it all?
You're absolutely right, Jeff. That's about right. When he was doing the 3,000 run and getting closer to that, that's when the ballpark was packed. Prior to that, you're talking the 2010s, like, when you guys were like, it's weird to say, but you guys were kids. So for me, it was like, but it's true. That's when the last time the ballpark was packed. But just when you have people saying that the last time they came to the ballpark was when they were paying cash, that's legit. That's legitimate. And there's a lot of people down there that I've not seen. I mean, I've gone to one game because lately, just the amount of just every time I try to go down there, something at work. I was gonna try to sneak down there today at work, but my work's been really I gotta stay home and do stuff. But tomorrow through Sunday, I'm gonna be there. But in terms of people on Twitter too, just the way the Tigers social media has done, they've done a really good job of capturing moments. And Matt Verling sliding and just going, "Fuck yeah!" Like that right there. that was electric. That was something like that's one of the most that's an iconic moment to me because you're seeing things. The Tigers down 3-0. And in the 7th inning, I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, it'll just be a matter of time." And it sure as shit, it happened. As soon as Colt Keith hit that triple, I knew it. I knew the Tigers were going to come back and win. It was just, it's something like I've watched this team since I was a teenager. I've never witnessed anything like this. I mean, even during the 06 one when they were dominant, even then. But this type of one-run games where they're not blowing saves. Look at my fingernails, guys. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. Like, it's disgusting. I'm just
And
going
with the
through
war.
it. I'm 42 years old, and I look like I'm like, but it's true. It's like as a journalist, I'm trying again, journalistic integrity, being a professional. You guys know how it is. Like you go to training camp. You guys sit there going, okay, we can't be fans. We have to be professional podcasters. We have to be this. It's harder and harder because I've never come on. I mean, the deep Parker Meadows making a catch in Seattle that I think changed the course of the season. There's so many moments in last month. It's hard. I got no words sometimes.
Hey, Raj, the biggest thing too, I brought it up today, and I actually tweeted it from our socials. The last 40 games, this Tigers team, it's not like this is just like a shot in the dark type of run. The last 40 games, they're the best team in Major League Baseball. Like they have the #1 record over their last 40 games played. Knowing that, and I know we've had some conversations with you over this run from the beginning to the end of it now. Does it feel like now, and I'm starting to get the feeling a little bit to once they clinch the playoffs and they get in, it feels like they can actually go on a run here. Like being the best team in baseball over the last 40 games, I don't think that's an easy task to do. And I don't think anyone, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, Raj, I don't think anyone wants to play those Tigers teams in the postseason.
No, they don't, Booner, because they have a really good pitching staff. You get guys like Sean Gunther. Have you heard of Sean Gunther before this? No. I guarantee you haven't. No. He's going out there. The last 18 innings allowed 1 run. He's got an ERA under like 0.92. You don't want to face this team because the way that AJ Hinch has been able to manage his bullpen is, I mean, you look at the 40-game stretch here. You've taken on the White Sox. You've taken on, or I'm sorry, the White Sox. I'm taking a joke. You take it on the Yankees. You take it on the Cubs. They've taken on the Mariners. It's not like they've just played. Yes, have they played the White Sox and the Angels? Sure, but they're getting it done. I mean, it's just a matter of when you're able to have an unconventional starting rotation. I mean, you're throwing Tyler Holden out there every 2 days. That's what's amazing to me right there. In this 40 games, Booner, we're watching a lot of unconventional things that we're not used to seeing. You're used to seeing your 4 guys go out there. They sacked Casey Mize this week and they use him out of the bullpen this week or today. So that's what I love about this 40-game stretch is we're seeing innovative baseball. We're seeing very good, just chess match work by AJ Hinch here. And especially he used every player today. That's the kind of added what I love about this team in the last 40 games is that we're able to see what every player's role is and how important it is as a team. It's a total team effort. And Gunther is the reason why I bring him up is because Benetti talked about him today on the podcast or on the broadcast that he was down in Toledo. He's been with the team. He was with the team last year after Tommy John. He's been in the minors for a while. And so this was his opportunity. He came up and he seized the best of it. It's such a great story. And there's so many great little stories among all these players.
Yeah, and Raj, I don't want to count our eggs before they hatch here, but if we are looking into playoffs, who would be the X factor that needs to step up for the Tigers to be successful? And maybe, the X factor for the Tigers, and maybe just another guy that will need to step up and kind of play a little bit better for them to be successful.
I think if it depends. I mean, have you noticed that they haven't used Maeda in a while because Maeda has been he hasn't been good. But if you're going to have, I think he would be one because, mind you, he's going to be coming out of the bullpen, but he has to be effective. So if he's going in the playoffs and they're going to rely on him for 2 or 3 innings, he has to be flawless or else they can't afford bad innings from him. Andy Baez has been batting under over 120, 130 since the early July. So he's got to step it up. I mean, he was known as the left-handed killer, but he hasn't been doing much as of lately on that. And then Spencer Torkelson, I know he had a home run the other night, and that was great to see. But you want to see that same Spencer Torkelson fighting off 8 or 9 pitches to get a home run. But I think Spencer Torkelson has to be a little more consistent in order for this team to really get far in the postseason. They have to have consistent power from him in order to make it happen. Because Riley Green's been fantastic. Cole Keefe had the big hits today. Matt Verling's just been really clutch, but you really needed some right-handed power from Spencer Torkelson.
And Raj, something that I think definitely got his fans excited is watching Jackson Jobe be brought up this week. And what do you think that's a sign indicating for the future with the rest of this bullpen, seeing a guy that young, but also being able to close a game out like that?
I think it's a good thing that the way they're going to gradually bring him in, I think it's a good idea for him, because that's what teams used to do in the day. Teams would bring in their young prospect guy. The A's and Dodgers did this notoriously in the 80s, and it allowed them to get some experience in there. And I think for Joe, this is a fantastic opportunity. He's earned it. He has done he's an Eastern League All-Star this year. His slider plays up so well with his fastball in the upper part of the zone, and when you can air it out 99 to 100 with that slider, that's closer like stuff right there. And I think that for what the Tigers need him to do this for the offseason and then put him in the rotation in 2025, I think it's fantastic. And I think that kind of experience is what's going to help him mature as a player, because he has matured quite a bit. He's been he came back from injury after the hamstring and was able to be effective. And the struggles in Toledo, again, automated strike zone, there's a lot of factors, and those things you have to kind of ignore. You have to look at this pure stuff, and he has the best pure stuff in the system. Jobe is one of those guys who really, when his command's set, he's unhittable. And I think that Tiger fans, if the Tigers have a chance to clinch the next couple days, to tomorrow actually, that hopefully maybe gets 4 or 5 innings of work over the weekend, and Tiger fans can really see what this kid's all about.
Raj, I just want to ask real quick, is that a Bucky shirt?
Oh yeah, Bucky's. Let me tell you.
Dude, it just keeps growing.
No,
Raj,
it's a Colt. I don't care what it is. That's a Colt, Raj.
Dude, no, it's not a Colt. Listen. I thought it was the same thing, Jeff. I thought
everyone in it. That's literally what everyone in a cult says. Like, I thought it was the same thing.
No.
Okay. You gotta listen. You gotta let me connect the dots here.
Listen. Okay, listen. So I drove down to Lakeland by myself this year, and I think my wife's laughing because of the Bucky's comment here. Here's the story. Here's the story. So I'm driving to Lakeland by myself, and it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I go in the Bucky's, and there was the one in Georgia. It was I think one of the first ones in Georgia. I can't remember exactly the location right now, and it was somewhat packed. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you go in there, and it's a cathedral of retail. It is gas station. There's like 100 pumps, right? And there's cameras at each one. There is 7 people. There's like 10 people working, making food right then and there. Then you have a bunch of cashiers, and it is, Mr. Detroit City is actually right. Those bathrooms are fucking full door bathrooms. They have full door bathrooms, which is a rare thing to see, like when you're traveling. Anyway, I was sitting there like stunned. It was just stunned. And then you had like now hiring general manager, $150,000 a year. They like the car wash guy, $30 a year.
They got the bag. They do.
Yeah. And then I got their nuts, their Bucky nuts or whatever they're the popcorn thing.
The beaver nugs.
Those things are dude.
They're good, Raj.
Oh my god. Like that guy loves that stuff. And I had the beef brisket burritos. I stopped again. Because I was like, I am hooked. I mean, like, because I had a couple guys in my softball team who were the Bucky's gear. Shout out to Greg, and that's why I was like, what the hell is this? A cult? And I'm like, screw that. But once I walked in there, I'm like, you know what? Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, they got your ass.
We have to go back. We have to go back.
Like, you guys can go without.
Boomer, why are they hating on this? Why are they hating
Raj,
on this?
We walked in and they were like overwhelmed. Jeff left right away. Lucas was like, Jeff walked in, grabbed like a drink and walked right out. And then Jeff
like,
He didn't know what to do. He was like, I've never seen something like this. People. Oh, wow. Humans.
No.
And then
Walmart
the only
people-
one that enjoyed it was Gentry. Gentry was like, yeah, boom, this is what I'm talking about.
Raj,
I'm not for the cold stuff, but I did spend like $40 in there. They had a lot of shit, but it was a little sketchy.
Great spot.
Mike, hey, Raj, we walked in. I saw a Bucky's mascot, and I saw a grown ass man go, Bucky.
All right, okay, that's
And I go,
okay. You know what? I understand that.
no.
No, I understand it. Like, because the second time I went back, it was like 9:30 in the morning. It was a lot more packed, and then I could see like the people who walk, those people that for whatever reason think it's a good idea to always wear pajama pants, even though it's 90 degrees outside, and your dumbass can't, for whatever reason, decide to wear clothes, wear jeans, or decide to wear a shirt, but you're wearing those stupid ass pajama pants, and you know that stink is in there really well, and you're wearing those Crocs because you're a douche, and you wear. Oh wait, I know guys who have like $100,000 a year, rich celebrities. Chad who wear Crocs thinks it's cool. Whatever, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But with the second time I went in there, it was like wall to wall. People like grown men sitting there like waiting for the Bucky's food, and the food is like same like you ever guys have a Sheets or
I've had Sheets before.
Sheet, yeah.
Walla, was it Walla's or what's that place called? And
Never heard of that.
I know.
Wawa's, yeah, Wawa's. Like,
Wawa,
Wawa's is, I mean, everybody talks about the food being great. I'm like,
For a
same
gas
thing.
station, it is.
Bucky's
for a
is
gas
really
station,
So, like it was. I felt like I was like in an Indian market or something, where like I was the whole time shoulder to shoulder with people yelling. It was
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe it's just
9:30
me.
in the morning. I can see what you're talking about, Lucas. It is way too much oversensory.
We
It
went
is
in there,
sensory
Raj.
overload. It's sensory overload.
We went in there, Raj, at like 2 p.m. on a Sunday. So when everybody was off work, and like, what do you want to do with your Sunday? Let's go to Bucky's. I'm like, dude, I just wanted we literally just looked up like a rest stop too. Like we didn't know what we were getting into. And I pulled up, I was like, wow, this place is packed. But then you go inside of it, and it's like people go in and they do not want to leave. It's like an amusement park.
They got something in the air. It's like some like gas they put in the place that makes you like I don't know. It's something
and all those signs too on the highway that's telling you like teasing you about it too. It also doesn't help. But I think if you go in there in the middle of the night or non-traffic hour, I think you're fine because that was my like the first time. I'm like, okay, you know what, this was enough. The second time, I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to because I don't want to be. I'm like you, Lucas. I like my space. I don't want people cramming my space. I hate that. So
we had to park like a mile away and walk.
Yeah, the second time I did the same thing. Because I had to like do like a sprint to the bathroom anyway. And I'm like going, fuck, like
look at this. Look at this, Detroit City, dude. I know a couple that met and fell in love working at one. Like,
fucking crazy. I love that.
They had the beaver there at their wedding ceremony.
Bucky was like the what do you call it? Reads the thing and like does the
bear or whatever.
Hey, you know what? I guarantee you guys, if you guys had a crunch time mascot, because they always say like in marketing, if you have a mascot, it works. So you mentioned the crunch time market.
Yeah, well,
like a clock walking around with the fade.
I don't even know what it is. Is it like what is it? What is Bucky? What is that? What is the animal? Like
it's like a chipmunk.
Chipmunk, yeah, that's what I think a chipmunk is. I mean,
looks like Alvin.
Hey, Raj, I could tell the Bucky symbol from a mile away. I know that symbol anywhere. As soon as I saw it, Bucky.
Yeah,
Bucky's.
You know what, Raj? What you do in your free time is your prerogative. All right, if you want to go to Bucky's and hang out, dude.
Jeff, I understand. Again, I understand, but it's an overblown gas station that has some perks. It's a beaver. Okay, so it's a beaver. If you like beaver,
how are we supposed to know?
Yeah, it's like how we were supposed to know this is a beaver. I don't know. It looks like it could be even a weasel. I don't know. I don't know. It's a festival of sorts.
Be put down.
Yep.
Take me to a Circle K. Take me to a Circle K, and I'll be happy.
You know what, Raj? We appreciate you so much, man. Enjoy it. I know the next like this week and the weekend. If you guys are going to these games here, wrapping up the season, good luck out there. Have fun, Raj.
You guys going Saturday?
I think I'll be there. I don't know if the whole crew will be there, but a couple of us will.
Yeah, shoot me a text when we're out there, and we'll have to have an adult beverage of some sort.
Let's go.
All right, Raj, appreciate you. Keep up the great work, my friend. Everyone, check out
Appreciate you,
Raj.
Raj.
Good to see you guys.
You're the best, man.
Go Tigers, baby.
Go Tigers.
There you go, Mr. Rogelio Castillo. All right, boys, we'll get out of here. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Great show today. Shout out Brian. Shout out Raj. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Get your merchandise, officialctsports.com.
Love you guys.
And drop a like. We'll see you.
Peace.